You're listening to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
Away we go. Welcome back, Leatherhead Nation. We're back at the Firehouse Altar, gentlemen. The place you go for advice on love, on money, on sex. The place you go to get your balls broken. The place you go to watch historic events. The place you go to watch sports. The place you go.
All right, don't get carried away.
It's the Firehouse Kitchen Table. The Firehouse Kitchen Table. And we're the only MFers that bring it to you. How do you like that?
Oh, I like them apples. You like apples?
I like that opening. Gary. Welcome back, fellas. Ruffy, how you doing today, bud?
What up, kid? Good.
Any golf today? Plenty golf? What'd you do?
Today I roofed. I helped my friend on his roof.
I roofed. Today I roofed.
It was fun. We had some roofy roofed. We had some fun today. It was good.
You sound like you hit a wiffle ball a little too hard.
Bro. Were you drinking while you were there?
A little bit, yeah.
Is that why you're drinking water?
I only had a few, but
that's why he's on the water right now. He's got a glass of water with him.
When I came home, I had one too.
You did? Oh, all right. So you topped yourself off. Very nice.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, Pete. What's up with you, bud?
Hanging in there, bro. Just been real busy. I got a little bit of a busy week coming up. Going up for a shoot in Cooperstown next week.
Oh, man, a shoot.
Shooting artifacts.
That's right. We're not going to be on Monday, right?
No Monday show, but I'm trying to pull something together for Monday. But we will be back next Friday with a live show. Friday with a live podcast.
Yes.
That's good. Mike said Lou was assigned the roof.
Yeah.
No BI still.
And
no BI.
That show on Friday is going to be a tabletop drill. We got Captain Dennis Murphy, and I think he might have wrangled in a couple of fellas that you might know of, you heard of. I don't know what the topic's going to be, but I left it up to him. We'll post that, I'm sure. But let's get to our esteemed.
Yes. He's steamy.
He's steamy. He's drinking the Macallan.
We'll show off our bottles in a minute. Because I have to do it. We have to do our spot though too.
Yes. All right, Pete, do the spot. Take it while I drink a little Jameson's on the show tonight too.
Ladies and gentlemen, you all know that you can find us at GettinSaltyApparel.com. That's right, Gettin Salty Apparel. Well, you can find the coolest t-shirts, hats, firefighter, accessories, and apparel in the game. If you aren't aware or haven't seen any of our stuff yet, go on over to GettinSaltyApparel.com. Get yourself familiar. If you like to give the firefighter in your life a nice gift, GettinSaltyApparel.com has got you covered. So head on over if you want to support us and support the show. Also, guys, if you want to support us tonight, live and direct, don't be ashamed to hit us up in the super chat. Don't cramp up. Don't get those T-Rex arms. All of a sudden, you can't do a little reach. You know what I'm saying? If you guys want to support us, hit us up in the super chat. If you have a question, if you want to ask us, let us know, and we will try to get to it as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Awesome. Word of the day?
Well, should we bring our boy in first and then we do the word of the day? What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me take a sip and think about that. Hold on a minute. All right, let's bring our guest on. He's a hard charger. Love him.
He is.
He's a really
only did close to 40 years.
Oh, 39 years. We'll go over his timeline. Hasn't seen much fire. Not much at all. No, great guy though. Always smiling. Love him. Here he is, the one and only Rob LaRocco.
Hey, there he is.
There he is. Love him.
Hello, man. He's got the little puffy room too. Look at him. He's LaRocco.
You're in the Rocky War Room over here.
I love it. The war room.
CC, I made it.
Beautiful.
I made it.
Welcome to the show, Lieutenant Robert Rocky LaRocco. Welcome. Anytime, please. Pete, why don't you give us the word of the day now, brother?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, the word of the day is tin house.
Woo! Love it.
Tin house.
What are you drinking, Rock?
He's a man of fine taste.
When I retired, my nephew Justin gave me a nice bottle of Macallan, so I broke it open today and working on it.
Turned out Petey was dibbling himself over there.
Yeah, Pete's is almost empty though. Look at him.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Macallan It's the finest Highland Scotch single malt whiskey that you can possibly buy. The Macallan 12, not to be beaten by the Macallan 18, which is quite finer. Anyway,
maybe they'll send us a case.
Send us a case, guys.
Yeah,
we need it.
Or maybe these guys will hook us up in the super chat. We'll buy our own. How you like that?
Just one case, Brian. You're getting cheap in your old age.
Oh, love it. Excellent.
Boom.
All right.
Boom.
Beautiful. Let's dig right in. Let's get right into Lieutenant LaRocco, a.k.a. Rocco. Rocky.
All right, Rocco.
All right. So let's start out. Where'd you grow up, boss? What neighborhood were you from? Where'd you come originally?
I grew up in Brooklyn in Flatbush. I actually right around the corner from ladder 147, engine 281.
Oh, shit.
Any family on the job or
No, I actually became a fireman totally by accident. It's crazy. If you want, I'll tell you the story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do it.
You're asking the question. Should I start now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do it.
Tell me how you got it.
Oh God! All right. No, I just want to start off, but every firefighter has a unique journey, and all of our journeys have similarities, but everyone is unique. You experience different things, you see different things. My journey to becoming a fireman started when I was 9 years old, and what happened was, growing up in Brooklyn, I was like 1964, 65, and I'm playing with my friends in front of the house, Jackie and Tommy, and we noticed the house next door goes on fire. And with that, the woman who lived there came home and she ran into the house. So, like I said, I'm a young kid. I'm 9 years old, and we're all standing there. So I tell my friend Jackie, go to the corner, pull the pull box. And I ran inside because my father worked nights at the Fulton Fish Market, and he was always asleep on the couch in the living room. So I ran in there, I woke him up, and I told him what was going on. And he came outside. He's wearing his shorts, a T-shirt, and moccasins. And now there's smoke billowing out of the door, which she left open, and coming out of the windows. And he said, "You sure she went in?" I said, "Yeah, she ran in there." So now my father goes in there, and maybe a couple of minutes passed, but to a child, it's a long time. And now he emerges. He has the woman unconscious over his shoulder.
Oh,
comes
shit.
out of the smoke.
Get out of here. He grabbed.
He made a grab. So now with that, 281, 147, they whip around the corner. The shit's on, and my father lays down. The lady on our lawn, and a lot more units come. They're putting out the fire. The cops came. I remember, my father stayed with the woman till the cops got an ambulance. And then my father, like with no fanfare, just went back inside his spot on the couch and went to sleep. It's like, I'm serious.
Smelling like smoke.
No, this is a true story. It's a Queen Anne next door. It's like a
I was going to say probably Queen Anne's over there.
Yeah, and he goes back to sleep. So with no fanfare and never anything.
What was she
now,
doing? Was she running in there just to put something out, or was there somebody in there? What was the story?
She was a newlywed, and they had just moved in. Maybe they lived there for a couple of months.
Wow.
But anyway, just to continue, the story, my journey from 9 years old, fast forward to about 1977 or 78, and now living in that house is a guy. I just know he lives in the house. I don't know what he does for a living. And at that time now, I'm working at the Fulton Fish Market, so I'm working nights. And I had my car parked in front of the house, and it's like 7 o'clock. I come down the stoop. I want to go out with my friends for a couple hours. And this fellow that's living in the house, he's leaning up against the car, and he's eyeballing me, and he has his arms folded. And I can see he's kind of like looking at me, and he's like,
"Give me the stink eye a little bit."
It's give me the stink eye. And I'm saying to myself, I may have to fight this guy, but I'm a fighter. I'll mix it up. So now, as I approach him, he goes to me, he goes, "Hey, where the hell are you going like 2 o'clock in the morning?" So he goes, "You got some bimbo broad on the side." So I said, "Well, yeah, that." I said, "But at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to work." Right away, his demeanor changes. And he goes, "Oh, you have a job? You work?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, what do you do?" I said, "I work at the fish market in Manhattan." So he with next words out of his mouth, "Did you ever think of becoming a fireman?" I go, "No." And he turns to me, he goes, well, the reason I'm asking is I'm a fireman, and they're giving a test, and I see a young guy like you, maybe this would be something good for you. So like I said, oh, so what do you got to do to be a fireman? He goes, do you know where Thomas Street is? I said, yeah. So like he goes, you go there and you get an application. I said, all right, I'll go there tomorrow and get an application, you know. So with that, I go past him to go out, to open my car door, and he physically grabs me by the arm, and he turns to me and he looks me in my eyes and he said, you never did think about becoming a fireman, did you? I said, no. I said, I always tell the truth the first time. So he said, what are you doing tomorrow night? I said, well, what I'm trying to do now. I said, I'm trying to meet these bimbo broads that are out there. I know so with that, he goes, well, you know, I'm working tomorrow night at my firehouse. Why don't you come by, have dinner, you know, take a few runs, and we'll just get to see what it's about. I said, all right. So anyways, that night I went to work. I got off in the morning. I went to Thomas Street. I got the application. So now, you know, I said, well, where do you work? He worked in Ladder 166 on Neptune Avenue in Coney Island. And I said, what time should I get there? He goes, get there at 7 o'clock. I'm like, all right. So now, like, I'm thinking to myself, well, what do I bring? Do I bring a cake? Do I bring that? Well, you know, I heard somewhere firemen like to drink. So I went to the deli.
Allegedly.
I bought a square bag. Right, in those days, they put like, you know, 4 6-packs in the brown paper bag. And you roll it up in a square. I had it under my arm. I pulled up in front of the firehouse, and I'd never been to the firehouse before. I knew nothing about the job. And, you know, there's a house watchman there. So I asked, is Steve Gentry working? So he calls him on the, you know, on the pitch box. And he walks out. He's got a big smile. He shakes my hand. He brings me in the back. And in the back, there's a cop cooping. And there's all the guys hanging out.
Cooping.
And so Steve introduces me, and right away one of the guys goes to me, what's that gun in your arm? I said, oh yeah, here, this is for you guys. So like, you know, one of the guys takes it, he opens it up, he goes, oh shit, it's beer. He goes, you know, it's illegal, it's against regulations. So like, I'm like, oh, all right. Like I fold up the bag and I'm leaving the kitchen. They said, well, where you going? I said, yeah, well, I don't want to get no one in trouble. I'll go put it back in the trunk of my car. They're like, no. We'll put it in the backyard.
We'll leave it there for, you know, the next picnic. We'll leave it for
tomorrow morning when the guys go home, they'll take a few cans. Right away, they put the beer in the backyard. The kitchen empties out. The cop and everyone's gone.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Steve. So he showed me, you know, the rigs. He showed me around the firehouse, you know, the gym and everything. Introduced me to the officers. I had dinner with the guys. I remember one of the guys had gone fishing and he caught a bunch of weak fish, and we had weak fish. And I took a few runs with them. I sat up front. In those days, they had a bench seat. And, you know, I stayed a couple hours. I maybe went home like 10 o'clock because I had to go to work at 2 in the morning. And I was like, you know, something. This is it. So like I said, out of that house where my father made the grab, a fireman ends up that, you know, basically
made the grab. That's crazy.
You know, so he kind of set my destiny in motion there. So that's how I ended up taking the test. You know,
Rocky, how much time did that guy? How much time did he have?
Bro.
Yeah, that's a great story. How much time did he have at that time, you think?
Steve, well, I know he was in Vietnam, and you know, so like I'm guessing maybe he came on like, you know, 1970. So by 77, maybe he had like 7
right, so
or 8 years.
He wasn't like
a
senior guy there then, or anything like that.
No, but it is funny, as at the time I was like, you know, maybe 22 years old. You know, like I looked at everyone in the firehouse, they were like all like a lot older.
Older guys,
but,
yeah.
They were older, but they were like kind of weathered. You know, their lifestyle, and you know, they fought fires without masks. And you know, everybody was smoking up a storm in those days.
70s,
and so you know, and then like I eventually got appointed there. You know, Steve said, "No, I'll tell the captain." And to someone who doesn't know anything about the job, you know, one firehouse is like, oh, so you're gonna put me in Coney Island? No, I'll go to Coney Island. I didn't know what was busy, what was, you know, good, but I actually 318 166 was a great firehouse to start off in for me. And back then they did catch some work.
What year was that? The guy that you met, that guy? What year was that? Because you got on in 81, right? So how long?
So I know on my list they started hiring in 78. So I'm guessing 77 I got the application, or very early 1978. for that list. I'm guessing your brother was on that.
Yeah.
List.
He got on in
Cool.
79, right? Yeah, 79.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's a great story, man. So, would that guy see you and say, you tell him, "Oh, I'm going to the next class"? Was he following you along the whole time?
Oh yeah, he told me when you go into Proby School, it's a whole nother story. When you go into Proby School, he goes, when you're like halfway through, give me a call. I'll tell the captain, and we'll get you to 318. Now keep in mind, Proby School for us in 1981 was 6 weeks.
Couple of weeks. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and it is funny. I ended up going to a wedding while I was still in Proby School, and I'm sitting at the table with my uncle, and he said to me, he goes, "Oh, so you're a fireman?" I said, "Well, I said I'm in the academy." I said, "I haven't gone any fires." I said, So now the fellow sitting next to me says to me, he goes, "Oh, you're on the job?" He goes, "I'm on the job too." And it was Lieutenant Sandy Maggio. He worked in 230 engine. He said, "I'm going to call, the transfer desk, and when you come out of Proby School, you're going to go to 230, which actually probably would have been a better, 230 was a lot busier than 318." And I said, "Listen," I said, "I don't want to cause any trouble. I don't know, I got
right. You already got contracts
get
going
me over
already.
Here. I said, so he said, "Listen," he goes, "Call Monday. Here's my number." He goes, "Call your friend and tell him you can go into 230. And I called my friend, and he said, "All firehouses catch the same amount of work." Now he's telling a novice. I'm serious. I had no idea.
It's like believing you're a recruiter when you go to the Army recruiting station. You know what I mean? Yeah. You'll travel the world, meet a ton of women. It'll be great.
Right. So something like that. And so I went to 318 engine, but it was good for me. I'll tell you a little bit about 318. It was a Walker firehouse. And for those of you out there that don't know what a Walker firehouse is, Mayor Jimmy Walker was mayor of New York City in like the late 1920s. And throughout the city of New York, there's a lot of these similar two-story firehouses. 318, 166 is one. Squad 61 is another. 310, 174 in Brooklyn, and a whole host of others.
312, I know is one. Yeah, 323.
There you go. Yeah, they're these two-story firehouses. So anyway, 318 was built in 1929. And when I went to the firehouse, there was no electric doors. There were horizontal steel doors that the house watchman had to open up when there was a run. And to get in and out of the firehouse, there wasn't an entrance door like we have today. There was what we call the wicket door. So it was a short door, maybe 5 feet tall, and you put your 1620 key in, and the door was in the apparatus doors. You put your 1620 key in, and that's how you got in and out of the firehouse. In those days, there was no Needleman system. So when you walked in the firehouse, it smelled of firehouse.
Yeah.
There's diesel exhaust. It smelled of jobs because there was a lot of fires, going on here and there. You could smell the fuel from the pumps, and I don't know.
It was a garage. It was just a garage.
The wet apron and everything, and
when you got a spare, when you took off, you couldn't see anything. I mean, it was pitch black from that exhaust, right? I mean, it was
the
walls were black.
Like
that.
Yeah. That white subway tile. They were all black. Oof. And they get cleaned once a year for inspection.
For inspection.
But, I will
Todd,
you tell you this.
Off the walls.
But I will tell you this. At 318, 166, and I guess throughout most firehouses on the job back then, during the day tour and night hours, until about 11 o'clock at night, the house watchman sat at the house watch desk, and you wore your dress shirt and a tie, and the phone was answered on the first ring. That's just how it was. And the reason that you ate your lunch and dinner at the house watch, but the reason they did that was, once again, there was no electric doors, so as house watchman, when the ticket would come over, you had to announce it. You had to run out, get the doors open, and start getting into your gear. So there wasn't a delay. So if you're first due, you're not ended up second due. But there was a lot of older guys there. My first captain in 318, was a great guy, really accomplished fireman. Tommy Touchdown Smith, he was at a 280 as a fireman.
I like it.
And,
If you got a nickname Touchdown, man, you're doing something right, man. No doubt.
Yeah, big into football and whatnot. And
the babes.
But one of my early, actually, one of my first jobs in the engine, I do remember, it was a Saturday night, and in Coney Island, there's a lot of projects, and there were these like 6-story projects, like a group of them, and it's a Saturday night, and we're going, and there's a fire in the stairwell that emptied out into a parking lot. They stuffed it with mattresses and all sorts of garbage, and they lit it up. So now we get there, 1075, there's people at windows all over the place. So 318, we go to stretch a line. The truck is trying to do their thing. And as we approach the building, suddenly off the roof, these morons start throwing bottles and bricks and whatever else at us. But I mean, seriously, 100+ things were thrown at us. And I know you heard in the 70s they did that. And it was ridiculous. We're trying to put out a fire, like they set the place up. So we're trying to put out a fire. These people are at windows, there's smoke getting in their apartments and stuff. And so that was my first experience. And one of the old timers told me, he said, he goes, this stuff happens, but it doesn't happen all the time. Although another time we had something at 2007 Surf. It was a notorious building. And actually years later, a police officer died in a fire there. Some kid lit up some mattresses and stuff in the hallway, and the cops took the elevator up to the fire.
Oh, I remember that. That wasn't too long ago, right? Rock, that was, is that, how long
12
is it?
years ago.
Is it that long already? Holy shit, I remember that.
Yeah, you know how the timeline goes. But I remember we were there on Sunday. They always lit up the compactor, like clockwork. And we were there, and someone was shooting arrows at us. They started landing around the rings. But I don't know where they were coming from, maybe the roof or maybe from another building. But, stuff like that happens. And like I said, that's part of everyone's unique journey on this job. There's a lot of good people out there, but there's some
not so good
others that, they're not so good,
Yeah, how was that? So that first job that you had, how long were you in the firehouse before you caught your first job there? Was it?
Good question. Like I said, that was one of my first jobs. I do remember my actual first job was unusual in that the address was unusual. The address was 2828 West 28th Street. So we actually, something happened. We ended up second due, so we had to stretch to the floor above the fire. And I remember we had the line stretched, and I was on my stomach, and I was watching the guys from the truck standing there, forcing the door, and all the stuff going on. My officer was Lieutenant Brian Dixon. He was a fireman at a Squad 4 in Brownsville, and the whole time he had me by my collar and was talking to me, and you're surrounded by successful people. Things work out. So that was that first job. That's when that occurred.
Rocky, did they have that patch back then too? They always had a cool patch, right? The face or whatever it is. I don't remember what it is.
The steeplechase face.
Oh, the steeplechase face, right?
Right, 245, 161 on.
Oh, it's 161. I always get them mixed up.
On West 8th Street. However, our engine 318, we had at the time we had a 79 Mac, and in the truck they had a 74 La France, and our 79 Mac, somewhat of an artist. Now, I wouldn't say like a Picasso type of artist, but just passable. Did the steeplechase face on the side of our Mac. Yeah. And that 74 Seagrave rig that we had, to put the ladder up, when you put the PTO on, you had to put the transmission like into drive, and there was a metal wedge on a chain that was there, and you had to shove that in there so that it wouldn't jump out, and it stayed in PTO so you could utilize the ladder.
So you were only in the engine a short time, right? You only did 1 year in the engine. Well, how did that happen?
Yeah, Yeah, a little over a year in the engine, and I went to Ladder 166 in June of '82, and at that time, Captain Ray Kane had come to the truck, and Ray Kane was a total gentleman, a fireman's fireman, class act. Great guy. He drove a lot. He liked forcible entry. He liked the through the lock method. And I caught a few jobs with him. One job that I did not catch with him, just to tell you of the caliber of fireman that he was. This fire was on a Saturday, and he was working overtime in Ladder 161, the second due truck. Anyway, the first due engine truck, 318 166, our house, they catch a duplex up fire, and the interior team goes upstairs. It's hot. They have their masks on. They end up in a room, and the place flushes. And now the can man and the officer and another guy was able to get out, but one guy was trapped. Captain Kane came as the second due officer. He knew there was a trapped guy up there. He got on his stomach. And in those days, we didn't have bunker gear. We didn't have hoods. And he got on his stomach and he crawled in, and he got the guy from 160, working 166, Joe Treglia. He grabbed him. He dragged him out through the fire. Now, Captain Kane burnt the back of his legs, and the guys told me that the back of his pants were actually burned. But he got this guy, Joe Treg, who later told me if the captain didn't come in the next second, he was going to jump out the window. It was that bad.
Wow.
The truck chauffeur, Gene Finnegan from the first due truck, Ladder 166, said when the captain dragged him out down the stairs, he said he went to take his coat off because, how when your coat gets overheated, you kind of get those steam burns. He said he grabbed his...
he couldn't even open it. It was too hot.
And he said he burnt his hand.
Too hot.
Yeah.
Wow.
So just to show you the caliber of the guy he was. He was a good fireman. He inspired me, and I always held him close to my heart throughout my career.
That's great, man.
When did you know you wanted to go to the truck? Because you really didn't know much about the fire department, but were you watching the truck and you said, "That's for me," or what made you want to go across the floor?
Well, it is funny. I was more of a tool type of guy and get my hands on things, but
well, that's usually how it is. I mean, for the most part, that's usually how it works. You know what I mean? You see the guys, the truck always has more stuff, tool wise. So you would definitely gravitate to it that way if that's what. Yeah.
And, like in Coney Island, there was a lot of guys they had a lot of fire duty. The guys that were in Coney Island from the 60s and 70s, there was a lot of work going on down there. And then there were other guys that came over. 3 guys came from Ladder 1032 when they disbanded that company. One guy came from Engine 41 in the Bronx. Another guy came from Ladder 112. And I don't know. Hearing the fire stories and
you got the stacked house there.
So I kind of figured out let me try and go with these guys. But before we start going forward in my career, let's go backwards back to Proby School. Those 6 weeks. Yeah. There's a couple of things I wanted to tell about Proby School. Proby School we got sworn in. Hey, there you go.
Fine, gentlemen.
Okay. We got sworn in actually 2 days before our date of appointment on January 8th, 1981. And what happened was I didn't know how to get to Randall's Island, and I had to work, in the fish market. My boss let me go. I said, listen, I got this swearing in at like 11 o'clock. Can I possibly get out of here like 10 o'clock? And he begrudging me, let me go at 10. So I ran upstairs. I put on my suit, and I got in my car. I go up the FDR, and I had directions. But when I came over the Triborough Bridge, the sign that says Randall's Island off to the left, there was that stark January winter sun shining. So I missed the sign. I end up somewhere in the Bronx. I'm totally lost. The clock is ticking. I'm in traffic. I'm
sweating.
Oh my God! It's like it's January and I'm sweating. So I finally get my way to Randall's Island. The parking lot is full. I just threw my car somewhere. I run into the auditorium, and the first guy I see in uniform, I said, "Listen," he goes, "Don't worry, you're all right." He goes, "As late as you are," he goes, "the Mayor Koch at the time," he goes, he's running late. He's not here. So I got there like 2 hours late. Mayor Koch got there 2.5 hours late. So I did get sworn in. So it worked out. But anyway, so 6 weeks of Proby School. Proby School, in those days, we had for a uniform, they said, well, go to Sears and buy a blue work shirt and a blue pair of chinos and black Oxfords, and that's a uniform while you're in Proby School. And they issued us these long yellow slickers and vintage yellow, they were like kind of fiberglass civil defense helmets, and that we wore over our coats and everything because it was winter, and I wore a pea cap with underneath the helmet just to keep warm. But Proby School, the two things that I remember is number one, our first encounter with smoke, the smokehouse. So in Proby School, there, you're doing this, you're doing that, and everything. So the instructor tells us, all right, we're going to take you out for a run. So we're all wearing our boots, and we're running, but you're not really running. You're running in short steps. And it wasn't like a mile run or something. Maybe we ran like half a mile around the academy, but not realizing that this smokehouse, and in those days they used real smoke, it's a brick building with metal shutters. And as we're running, kind of like I'm looking at it and like I'm watching the house go like this, so pumping black smoke, and not realizing that he's running us around to get us out of breath. And then like run us right into the smokehouse. And that's what he did. So now our squad, like my class was a 100-man class, 2 50-man platoons and 3 squads, 2 squads of 17, 1 squad of 16 guys. And so now we're like, it's January, it's cold, we're a little bit winded. Like I said, it's maybe a half-mile run or something. I was running for about 10 minutes. And now we just run right in there and like, all right, everybody hit the floor. All right, man number 1, stand up. Say the alphabet backwards. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I literally had my nose on the wet concrete floor trying to find some air, which there wasn't any air. One of the guys at some point panicked and like ran out. But so now the instructor comes over to me, stand up, say the alphabet backwards. I can't do that. I can't do that right now. If you ask me, I couldn't do that. So anyway, he smacks me on the head in the helmet with he had like a long flashlight, and that was our first encounter with smoke. And as firefighters, we how can I say, you really can't fear fire, you can't fear smoke, but you have to have a healthy respect for it. You have to know and learn how to operate in it. And everyone has different levels, but the smokehouse, they were burning pallets and wet hay, and who knows if they were burning tires in those days. But it was bad, my first encounter with smoke, and me and everyone else was like, I don't really know. Maybe it's not for me, but that. The other thing is our encounter with heights. We did the scaling ladder up the side of the building, and then also going off the side of the roof. And I remember going off the side of the roof with the roof rope in those days, that the 15/16 hawser rope that we used. I remember the first guy going off the side in my squad. He kind of looked back at me. I could see the fear written all over his face, but he went, and I was maybe the 3rd or 4th guy, and I went. But as young guys, we had confidence in our training. We had confidence in our equipment. We did it once, and we said, wow. And we were running upstairs to do it again and again and again. Each of us probably did it, 6 or 8 times. We were so pumped up. We were all like, 21, 25 years old. I think the oldest guy was like 30. And he was like, the old man in the crew. But just one last thing about Proby School, FDNY Proby School back then. One of the instructors, he took our squad out for some kind of a drill. They would torture us. I remember one drill, me and one other guy, everyone had to do it with, we had to advance a 2.5-inch charge line, crawling on our knees over gravel. I remember the gravel like killing my knees, but You don't want to give up the line. You got to move forward. But anyway, this particular instructor said he had us lined up in attention. We were all like, we respected our. We didn't know what our instructors could do to us. They could maybe get rid of us. So he said, well, what do you guys notice about the streets in the fire academy? And no one was, no one would answer. He goes, well, I'll tell you what. He goes, the streets are named after all these heroes that got killed in the line of duty. So with that, he said, attention. So we all got to attention. He goes, all right, all heads, left face. We all look left, and then we all look right. So with that, he said, I'm going to tell you something. He goes, over your 20-year career, he goes, the man to your left or the man to your right, he's either going to get killed or disabled during his 20-year career. Now, I was 25 years old at the time, and I kind of thought I was bulletproof, and I'm like, this guy, he's full of shit. But then, I started getting out in the field, and I thought to myself, maybe this guy is right. So
it did work out like that, right? I mean, it did work out like that. Guys in your squad, in your platoon, in your class, especially after 9/11. I mean, if you think about all the guys, it's crazy.
Yeah, we lost a couple guys just off the top of my head out of my class. Tim Stagpole, who stood next to me in Proby School, and we were incredibly great friends throughout our career. He gave his life in 9/11, and Mike Esposito also gave his life in 9/11. But yeah, it is dangerous. I do know one guy. During while we're still on probation, he worked in Manhattan, and a fire, I guess, during the overhaul stage, he walked into a piece of lath and lost an eye, and as a Probie got off the job, And then another guy I heard had bad leg burns, while he was still a Probie, and ended up in the burn center. And these are just the things that I heard of. I don't know who else, what happened with everyone else. You kind of lose touch with everyone. But, it's a dangerous job. We work in a hostile environment all the time. And or anyone who sees the firemen in the supermarket and everything, we're laughing, we're having a great time in the firehouse. The guys are generally incredible, but there's that percent of the time where you're laying it on the line, where you're taking that calculated risk. You need to push it, and there's times where, I know I've said to myself, I got to make this move, but it's going to hurt. It's something, but you push yourself, and sometimes you dodge the bullet, and sometimes you take what comes, whatever it is.
Plus, you knew Galleon was right behind you. He was going to get in there before you, so you had to do it anyways. He's in the chat. He's in the right. He's in the chat. He said
you were late for your first tour at R2.
Rescue
also.
2.
That's true. What's not my fault. Not my fault. I could tell that story now, or if you want to go.
We're gonna go to 176.
Okay, 176. All right, great place.
What makes you? I guess you're following the fire. What made you want to go to 176? What made you pick that?
Well, like I said, I worked in Coney Island, and there were guys that were in Coney Island during the war years, and there were guys, like I said, from 1032, Squad 4, Ladder 112. This is just off the top of my head, and they would all tell me, "Oh, it's over down here, kid." This, that, but we were still catching fires down there. Granted, a lot of vacant building fires and things like that down there, and there was a lot of projects, and I did kind of think to myself, I'd like to try and move to an area where there's tenements and frames, and try and do that. So in those days, if you wanted to transfer, here's what the story is going to end up being a funny story. You went to AUC 260, All Unit Circular 260, and I opened it up and I looked, and the busiest company on the job at that time was Ladder 176. They had the highest WRI, worker run index, in those days. That's how they figured it out. So I figured, and actually,
you're going to go big, is what you were thinking.
Yeah, go big or go home, like my friend Max Spinder said. So anyway, what happened was a lieutenant from the engine when I was in 318, he actually transferred to ladder 176. And I spoke to him. I said, "How was it over there?" "Oh," he says, "It's good. We catch, we're catching work. It's good." So I looked at the WRI and kind of verified it for me. So I put in a paper, and P.S. I end up on the order. So now my first tour in ladder 176, which is in the Ocean Hill Brownsville section of Brooklyn, it's in the Tin House. I'll tell you a little bit about it. Tin House. Oh, I said it.
Cheers.
Tin House, guys.
We know what we're doing, Rocky. Come on. We know the names.
So,
All right, Rocco.
Anyway, I transferred there, and my first tour, I worked with Lieutenant Manzella, Dominic Manzella, the lieutenant from 318. That was, had transferred several months earlier. And my first run, it was a night tour. My first run is a shaft fire between a couple of frames. And I'm like, wow, this place is great.
I love that.
First tour, first run, I have the can, I have a job. So the next night I come back to work, and in the Tin House.
Oh man. That retirement bottle is not going to last your retirement.
All right, so I come back to work for my second tour, and the captain of the truck is working, who I never met before. I know nowadays guys go for interviews, they call them and everything, but, I read the all-unit circular, and nowhere in the all-unit circular says, you go see the captain, you bring him roses or little cake or donuts. So anyway, so the captain was Captain Tough Tony Adamo. And let me tell you something, Captain Tough Tony was a tough cookie. So at roll call, we had roll call in front of the rig, and he gave everybody their assignments. So, Jimmy, you're driving, you got the roof, you got the OV, you got the irons. He mentioned everyone by name. He turns to me and he goes, "And you?" He goes, "You have the can." He goes, "After you finish checking the saws and the masks," he said, "Come in the office. I want to talk to you." I said, "Okay."
Oh,
so I'm happy-go-lucky. I don't realize that I crossed the line somewhere. So I check the masks, check the saws, have my gear all squared away, and the Tin House.
Oh, you guys aren't going to last long. We got to get out of here.
The way that it's set up is you have the apparatus floor, and you have the house watch. Then immediately behind that is the engine office, the truck office, and then the bunk room. So once again, by the way, this firehouse had to turn out on the job, because you stepped the bunk room was on the apparatus.
You just were right there, right? You're right there,
right? So you stepped out, you got on the rigs, and you responded that way. And actually, it's funny. Just a little back history before I get back to my interview. My interview with Captain Tony is. Ladder 176 was formed in November 22nd, 1972. And it was the TCU. It was a tactical control unit at one time. And the tactical control unit, they went to fires. They were just in service from 3 in the afternoon till midnight. And then they got off at midnight. So a lot of guys had drinking problems, as it turned out. So however long this lasted, but when they disbanded TCU 732, they formed ladder 176. So guys from TCU ladder 732 and engine 233 had a second section of 233. So those guys became ladder 176 in 1972, which, by the way, next year, the 50th anniversary is coming up. I understand that Captain Mark Gregory, current captain of ladder 176, is planning a big 50th anniversary. All you Tin House gang members out there, keep your antennas up. Hope to see you all. But anyway, with this fast turnout, it turned out when they did form the company, 120 and 231 were 4 blocks away this way, and 123 was ladder 123 was in quarters in those days with 227 engine on Ralph Avenue. So 120 is 4 blocks away one way, 123 is 4 blocks away the other way. And the guys in 176 realized if you're getting second due all the time, you're above the fire. In those days, guys, masks were optional in those days. So in order to not be above the fire and take such a big beating, they would race out and try and like jap everyone and get like first due, So that's with the fast turnout that's what they were trying to do. But anyway, getting back to my first tour with Captain Tony. So I checked the masks, I checked the saws, and I go over to the truck office, and the door is open. And there's Captain Tony sitting in a swivel chair doing some paperwork. He has glasses on the bridge of his nose.
Oh, the glasses on the bridge.
I knock on his door, and I said, "Sir, you wanted to see me?" And he swivels around in his chair. He takes the glasses off at the bridge of his nose. He says, "Yeah, I want to see you." I don't like. Can I curse online? I really don't want to curse, but I'll use the word hell. He goes, "Who the hell are you? You come to my company." He goes, you didn't call me. You don't come for an interview, this, that, the other thing. So like I said, listen, Cap, I said, it's the first time I put in a transfer.
I have no idea how it works, right?
AUC, it didn't say anything about that. So now he goes on to like with the football talk. He goes, I have my draft picks, guys, that I want to get here. And he goes, you come from Coney Island. You jumped the line, this, that, the other thing. And like he was really seriously pissed off at me. I said, Cap, I apologize. I'm sorry. I said, listen, I'll just put in my paper, CD30, and I'll go back to where I came from. So he goes to me, he goes, the heck with it. He goes, you're here, stay here. He goes, now get out of my office. So I turn, I take like a step and a half out of his office, and I stop, and I go, wait a second. And I said, excuse me, sir, can I say something? And he goes, yeah. I said, let me tell you something, pal. I said, I don't know who the fuck your draft picks are. I said, but you're never going to get less than 2,000% off of me. I said, I don't care if you're trying to force the gates of hell. I said, I'm going to be right there with you. With that, he stood up, he smiled, he shook my hand, and he said, I think you're going to work out pretty good here.
I like it. And
that's true story.
I like it,
Wow,
Rock.
good for you.
Correct.
Nice.
Now, were you there before Bobby Gallione, or he get there first?
No, Gallione. Bob Gallione went there as a Proby, I think 1979 in 232 engine, and about a year later when it went across the floor into the truck. And Bob, I could only say accolades about him, both as a fireman and a friend. He's one of those guys that's there 2,000%.
We got a picture of those two guys, right, Petey?
Say again, who am I looking for?
Gallione and Rocky.
I definitely have that.
Oh, he's going again. I heard the.
I heard the call come up.
Squeaky.
Look at those guys! Wow.
So you guys have been together a long time.
Yeah, we worked in.
Who was that? Ron Jeremy and Peter North.
We're talking about the porno movie Mustache.
Yeah, the porno Mustache. Yeah, bro. Nice.
Wow, chicken, wow.
Look at those guys. Nice.
Yeah. No, that's a vintage photo. But yeah, Bob and I.
That stopped you in your tracks, didn't it? That one will get you.
Oh yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about this one though. Since we were talking about 176. Lou.
Come on, do it.
You son of a bitch.
There you go. All right, there we go. Cheers.
Yeah, but Lou's drinking water.
That looks like it's rocking and rolling.
No, it's for real. I don't know when this fire was, but I will tell you who took the picture. We had an in-house buff. This guy, Jack the Buff, great guy, a gentleman. He'd do anything for you, and he's the toothless buff.
Everybody needs one.
Everybody had one.
Toothless buff. Yeah.
But a good guy, and I like to call him my Uncle Jack. And the first time I met him, I was brand new in the company. I was in the company for a week, and the Tin House, which by the way was
God.
Oh man. Whew.
when it was.
For all the people sorry to interrupt, but for all the people who bitch and moan in the chat week after week that we don't say the word of the day enough, drink up, losers.
Yeah.
Well, you picked the right word, but
yes, you did.
The tin house was actually like a corrugated sheet metal structure, and in the winter it got cold. So in the winter, like I remember wearing 3 or 4 shirts, like a couple of t-shirts, a work shirt, and a sweatshirt. And like I said, the first time I met Jack LaBeouf, I was in the company a week or two, and he brought in a cardboard box full of these Con Ed. They were like felt helmet liners. Yep. And he gave them to everyone. So I'm standing there, and one of the guys from the truck goes, "Why'd you give one to the new guy?" So he said, "Where'd you come from?" I said, "Oh, I came from Coney Island." And right away, first words out of his mouth was, "Oh, compact to college." Because of all the high-rise multiple dwellings that we did do a lot of compactors over there. And he gave me my felt hat liner, and we wore these hats around the firehouse because it was cold. They had like these heaters around on the apparatus floor and whatnot, but it wasn't really enough for the firehouse. But so that was the tin house. But world's fastest.
All right,
here we go. You're killing me.
That's it. That's the last drop. I'm not doing it anymore. That's it.
Okay, we need to move from the.
From 176, we call it 176.
So what? Yeah. So Probie, I was waiting. He's going to say. So when did you decide to start looking over to Rescue 2?
Okay. Well, should we continue just with 176 because now we moved to the new firehouse and things kind of got different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because we moved from the corrugated metal firehouse.
Thank you.
There you go.
Gosh.
In June of '87, and what happened was, January 1st, '87, we were in 2 different battalions. The engine stayed in the 4-4 battalion, but we went into the 3-7 battalion. But we stayed in the same firehouse until June of '87, up Rockaway Avenue, about 8 blocks or so. They built new quarters for us and Engine 233 from Hull Street to put us in those quarters over there. And the work kind of changed for us. In the tin house, our work, 30 to 40% of our jobs were vacant buildings. And if I could just return, I have a couple of fires from that firehouse I want to tell you. One day tour, we get a job, and I remember John Iovino's driving, very capable guy. And we get there, and it's a vacant building. And those days, the vacant buildings, they were generally sealed, whether with tin, cinder block, or those HUD windows.
Mm-hmm.
So this one and these vacant buildings, a lot of the buildings we go back over and over again. So now the tin or the block is getting taken, and these buildings, they're unoccupied for many, many years. They're open to the weather. They're ripe for fire. So when you start a little fire and it gets going, it gets going. Really does get going. So anyway, I remember pulling up with a truck. 123 was first due. The fire might have been on like Sterling and Rochester in that area. And there's fire blowing out of the 2nd and 3rd floor, and their OV is on the 4th floor fire escape. And we run out of the rig, and he's screaming. He's gonna burn. It's like one of those things. So I had the can. Bob Gluck had the irons, and Lieutenant Bill Dunleavy, fireman in 111, lieutenant in Ladder 176. We charge into the building, and like I said, it's vacant. And the doorway, there was like a few cinder blocks out, so we kind of squeeze in through there. We get up to the 2nd floor, fire's out in the hallway, and we have to close the door. So I get on my stomach, I get on the landing, and I use my 6-foot hook with the reach, and I have my head down. And even though I'm on the floor, I can still feel the heat. And I grab the door and I pull it shut as much as I can, not realizing that my flashlight, in those days we used to buy these $1 Garrity flashlights and keep them in our on a rubber band. With a rubber band was a tire tube from a wrecked car. We cut it up, put it around. We'd shove those dollar lights in there, and not realizing that the light like kind of like melted off my helmet. But now we got the door closed enough, and we go up the stairs, and the stairs are just like stair rises. I mean, it was a real piece of shit building. But on the lieutenant's handy talkie, in those days, keep in mind, not everyone had handy talkies. Just in the truck, the officer, OV, roof, and chauffeur had the handy talkies. But our chauffeur, ladder 176 chauffeur, had position. He shot the ladder up fast, and he got this guy down and off, and kept him from burning to death. But you know, all of us in the fire business know when the shit's on, life is in jeopardy. Things happen fast, so you got to be faster. It's one of those things that I want to convey to everyone. Other things out of that firehouse, corrugated metal firehouse. I do remember
firehouse.
We I'll say it if you want.
No, it's good. It's good.
No, the
I'm
McAllen.
out. Dude,
The
I'm
McAllen.
out.
Hey, Rocco, the McAllen hits a little different after a few, right?
Yeah, no, it's beautiful.
I can't feel my face.
But anyway, out of that firehouse one night tour, we get a run for a shooting. You know, shots fired, this, that, the other thing, and it was like the corner of St. Mark's and Saratoga Avenue. And we get there, and on the stoop of one of the houses, there's a guy, he's shot in the stomach, and he goes, there's more guys in the bodega. So on the corner bodega, me, Lieutenant Graff, and I think Billy Hines, we run in there, and there's a guy down, he's shot. And so right away, Billy and Lieutenant Graff, they kneel down next to him to work on him. And I look around, and on the floor, there's all shell casings that we're actually slipping on in our boots. And in the corner by some kind of a video machine, I see a couple of feet, the bottom of someone's feet over there. So I go over there, and there was a guy lying there. You know, I remember the guy kind of looked like a movie star for real. It was a nice looking guy, African-American guy, nice trim beard, how he had it, nice leather coat. And he was there. So I felt for a pulse, and he had a pulse, but he was shot in the head, and his brain was like coming out of the side of his head. So I knew like the guy had let's see if I could open his airway. And I got behind him, and I noticed his hand. I guess he put his hands up when he got shot. Out of the knuckle of one of his fingers was a bullet that I guess got lodged in there. I could see the copper jacket on the bullet. So anyway, like I kind of like pushed the guy's brain back in his head as best I could. I opened up his airway. I noticed he was still breathing. I stayed with him, and I was waiting for like EMS. And then at some point he kind of expired and died. So at that, that point, two people had died. So anyway, afterwards, like EMS comes, and we're outside, and we're talking to the civilians. I said, well, what happened? So they said, yeah, these guys pulled up, and they told us, in a blue Audi in front of the bodega, and apparently they've been selling crack out of there. And now these are the days,
crack is
85,
whack.
86. Crack is around. We're starting to find out what these vials, we didn't know what they were actually when we first saw them. And so they said, yeah, these guys pulled up in a blue Audi on Saratoga Avenue, and they went in, and they both opened up with their probably 9mm. Of course, like I said, there was all these shell casings all over the floor. And what happened was when they ran out to get in their car, apparently the driver must have left the car in park. So I left it in drive. So the car is like a block and a half down Saratoga Avenue, which is on an incline anyway, and it crashed into another car. And the witnesses told us they ran the block and a half down there, they got into the car, and they just disappeared. And that was it. But those are the things that happen. And
it's not available for overtime that day.
Yeah.
No, and there's a lot of things that I said it all the time working in the areas that I did. People out there, it doesn't make the news. This is stuff that's unheard. That you're not going to see it on the 9 o'clock news or whatever news you're watching. But stuff like that happens all the time. You know, there's bad people out there. You know,
yeah, man. You show up for work, you never know what you're going to get that tour, right? It could be anything like that.
Yeah.
Especially in those places. My goodness.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you never know. But anyway, so I want to keep us moving. So let's move to the new firehouse, 25 Rockaway Avenue. Like I said, it's about 8 blocks up. All of a sudden now, from Ocean Hill, Brownsville, from the
Right.
corrugated metal firehouse that we were at. Yeah. I'll say it if you want.
No.
we lost some of the projects that we were running with the 120, and now we're seeing a little bit more of 112 and 124. So we're going more into Bushwick, more into Bed-Stuy. The location of the firehouses were right off of Broadway, and it was good for responding. We could get places fast up there, but that firehouse came with a whole nother I don't know how would you say. So now we're in a new firehouse. We're with a new company.
With a new company.
We're trying to feel each other out. So we were used to 232. Now we're with 233, and great bunch of guys. This, that, the other thing. And what actually happened was, we tried, and it did happen where the guys from the engine became a little more, motivated. Guys started coming into the truck, and it worked out well for everyone, both the truck and the guys that wanted to come across. But the things that happened there is, I'll tell you something happened early on with a police officer. And guys, let me say this. I know I'm talking a lot, but seriously, let's not forget to keep these guys in our prayers. The police, the fire, the EMS, our military, all these people out there that they protect us. That's their job, and they really roll the dice. They put it all on the line, 24/7. So let's show some appreciation for them.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Anyway, what happened was, it's a summer night. We're in the new firehouse, and next to the firehouse we had a parking lot, and my car was the last car in the parking lot. And I had to get something out of the trunk. So I went out to the car. I opened up the trunk. And with that, and the way that where we parked, it slopes down. But now I'm looking, and I can see Broadway probably about 50 feet away. And there's across a church parking lot that's there. And I'm at about chest high. And I can see about maybe a 50-foot expanse of Broadway. And I hear a commotion, and I turn around and I look, and it's a police officer, and he's chasing some kind of a perp, and he tackles the perp, and he's trying to put the cuffs on him. And I'm watching this, and as he's trying to put, it's a lone police officer, he's trying to put the cuffs on the perp. Across this Broadway from where he was, 3 unrelated skells see this police officer trying to do his job, and they start picking up. I mean, there was all like vacant buildings and stuff there. They start picking up bricks and stuff, the cans and bottles, and they start throwing at this cop. They're hitting the cop, and they distract this poor officer enough that he gets distracted, and now the perp overpowers the cop.
Oh,
and he's on top of the cop, and I'm watching all this, and he's trying to get the cop's gun. And I'm assuming, I think it's a pretty good assumption, he wants to pull the gun, waste this whole officer and get out of there. And seriously, without thinking, I just cut my hands, and with my war voice, I call out to him. I said, "Hold it, police officer! I'm gonna fucking shoot!" And with that, I put my hands like that. I kept my hands moving, and this distracted the guy. And the guy looked. I remember looked at me, and I said, "Hold it there!" And with that, the cop whips his leg over, and now is on top of the cop. And now police cars, I could hear them coming, and they got there on time, and he made the arrest. And this poor officer trying to do his job was able to, go home to his family the next day. But that was one of my early experiences in the firehouse.
I thought you were going to say you pulled a Earl Campbell and ran him over or something,
No, but like there's a fence and everything between, like a 15-foot fence.
Yeah.
I couldn't. It was just one of those things. But anyway, so we're in the new neighborhood,
anyway,
and We're in the neighborhood.
I pretended I had a gun. I did Matlock for a moment. Boom. I kept it moving. All right, but anyway, moving on.
All right, everybody.
Nice work.
Oh! I'm gonna go grab my water.
Oh, he's going to get a drink.
Uh-oh.
I bet it's a White Claw.
Or water. Maybe he's getting water. I think he was out tipping today, so he's a little beat up.
Yeah. Well, he was, you know what he was tipping was roofing. He was literally like,
maybe he actually did a little work today. He's tired. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know, for all you guys who've been mainly Will Wolfgang, he just hit me up with the with the image that they've already posted on the fans page of Louis. So I'll pull it up.
Do it later. Let's not interrupt. All right, so go ahead, boss. We don't need Louis here. Who needs those?
Okay, we don't need Louis. Well, we love Louis, right? We agree.
Oh, we do love Louis. Yes.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, me and Gallione are working in the new firehouse at 25 Rockaway Avenue, and it's a night tour, and we have a fairly new lieutenant, covered lieutenant, working the night tour. And Bob and I have the can and irons. And in the kitchen, this lieutenant is saying, I worked here and I quote all these jobs and I'm like the world's best fireman. And he's going on and everything. So like I remember turning to Bob and I said, this guy sounds like he's pretty good. I hope we catch something tonight. So Jack the Buff, the toothless guy that we all Jack, I call him. So now he's riding with us. It was probably like a Friday or Saturday night, and the truck gets a run for a water leak. So we go out on the run for the water leak, and we take care of the water leak. And now we're coming back to quarters, and on the corner of Bainbridge and Saratoga, I believe, no lights, no siren. We're just going back to quarters. There's people like jumping up and down, waving at us, and they're pointing down the block like that. And we turn the corner and like, holy shit, it's a job. So now there's no, I guess the dispatcher hadn't been called. We're the only unit there. There's no way of us putting water on it. And, we were dressed, we were ready to roll. That's just how we operate. And so me and Bob, we run into the building, we go up to it was like a 3-story top floor fire. We get up there and we get to the top step. And it kind of sounds like there's a train in the cock loft. There was so much fire. And one of the doors on one of the apartments, there's like 2 apartments per floor, had burned through at the top. And the fire is like rolling across the hallway. So like I crawled down the hallway. Bob goes, when he hears the circus, the idiot starts crawling down the hallway. So now I got to follow him. So I'm trying to like force the door. But the fire's over my head. We're starting to get burned and everything. And so we back off. We get back to the top couple of steps of the landing there. With that, our roof man, Hank Seeger, he takes out the skylight. And it's just a small 2x2 foot skylight. And the fire is now, rolling like past us down the hall and shooting up the skylight. So me and Bob are there. We're waiting. This covered officer that told me he was the world's best,
like
the world's best fireman. We don't know where he is. I don't know where the hell this guy is. But we're there. Me and Bob are there shoulder to shoulder, and there's like a lot of fire going on. And me and Bob are just like mesmerized by the fire. We're watching it. We're just waiting. We know the engine's going to come eventually and bring water up. With that, like I said, the fire is rolling across the ceiling of the hallway, and it's going up out of this 2x2 foot skylight that's immediately over us. And the tar starts melting, and a big glop of tar comes down, and Bob's with shoulder to shoulder. He's on my right. We're on our knees on like the top 3 stairs, and big glob of tar hits his helmet and kind of pushes his helmet over this way, the first one, and now a second big glob of tar hits his face and goes across his face. But I'm mesmerized. I'm looking at the fire. So now like I feel Bob like give me the elbow. He goes, am I burned? And I turn and I look at him, and he looked like the Phantom of the Opera. His face was covered with the black tar.
Yeah, like the half mask.
And now I say, I'm going to get this guy back for all the times he broke my balls. So like I look at him and I just say, blah! I could see in his face, it kind of took all the courage out of him. And he runs down the runs into an ambulance. Right? With that, the engine comes up 233 and put the fire out. And
well, where was the officer?
He
never showed up.
Never saw him. Never saw him. But you know.
Well, you were back to the firehouse. You go, where were you?
Nah. You know, I didn't want to. You know, maybe he twisted his ankle or hurt his back. Who knows?
Hurt feelings, maybe hurt feelings.
One of those things. But let me see. I got a good one out of the new firehouse, and then Kevin will go to rescue too. But I remember. It's time. Okay.
No. Go. Give us the Give us the other one from there.
Just keep an eye on your time up there, Rock.
Okay. So now we're in the new firehouse, and I have the roof this night, and we get one of those like phone alarms, PD on the scene. You know, you go into a job, kind of like it was Wilson Avenue, maybe off of Schaefer, over that way. And we pull up to this building, 3-story job, store on the first floor. And what happened was someone torched, like they dumped gasoline from the roof bulkhead all the way down to the front stoop, and they threw a match in. So now, like, we pull up there. There's, people trapped, people at the windows. I have the roof, and the roof man, I have to get to the roof. I got to open up, whatever. Someone's got to get someone out with a ladder. That's someone else's job. I get up to the roof, and it's kind of like everything is like very, very banked down. And there's a bunch of civilians scattered. And like I just grabbed the civilians together. I directed them, get down the stairway that I came up off of. So now, like, I want to get on the fire building. So I look, and there's like I said, there's a lot of smoke. It's banked down. But through this dark black smoke, I could see the dull orange of fire coming up through the skylight of the bulkhead. So like I crawled over to the bulkhead. I couldn't see anything. And I get there, and this bulkhead was set maybe about 12 or 15 feet back off the front of the building. And the door to the bulkhead faced the street. And around besides like the fire shooting up out of the small skylight at the top of the bulkhead, fire is all around the door. So like I know when I force this door, I don't want to lose it. I want to use the door as a shield. So I pop my Halligan in there. I pop the door, and with my hip and arm, I held it. I went off to the side. And as I opened the door, the fire roared out, went across the roof, and shot out into the street. So now I could hear the 3-7 battalion, yelling at the guys off the side. I said, ladder 176 roof to 3-7 battalion. I just opened up the roof. Now the battalion is screaming. I got reports of kids trapped. This, that, the other thing. So we all know everyone's like amped into 18th gear at this point. So I know as the roof man now, I got to drop down. So I go to the rear of the building, and there's a gooseneck ladder going down. And as I start going down the ladder, our OV, Mike Puglisi, he's in that ladder 176 picture with me. He goes to the second floor, and he starts doing his thing, and I'm on the third floor. So with my hook, I reach over, I bust out the far window, I rip out whatever shades and everything are there. And now the window in front of me, and actually that's Puglisi, in the apartment, I could see a TV going through the smoke. And so I bust out the top pane, bust out the bottom pane, I bust out the sash, I make a door out of the window so I can enter it. As I'm about to enter it, Mike runs past me, and he goes, we got up the fire escape. He goes, we got to get out of here. And he kind of grabs me by the collar and knocks me down. I was on my knees. I'm like, what's going on? The apartment underneath him had lit up. Fire is now coming up through the grate of the fire escape. And I'm like, holy shit. So I leave my hook. And in those days, they just started issuing us those fiberglass hooks. And you know how they get when they burn to death? They turn into strings. Anyway, I left. I'm not thinking of that.
They string when they burn to death.
Yeah. So now I'm going up the gooseneck ladder, and I could actually feel the heat getting under my coat. And I'm like, I got a boogie. And
You're on a skewer.
Yeah, I get to the roof and like I just dove onto the roof, and as I dove on the roof, I rolled backwards and I see like the fire like roaring up the back. So with that, at that point, now this is the first time I meet Pete Martin of Rescue 2. Second truck eventually gets up there. Rescue 2 gets up there, and Pete's cutting, and I'm helping him cut. And everywhere we're cutting, wherever the kerf of the saw, fire's coming up out of the kerf. There was like a total loss. The building by the time
we didn't do so good there.
Yeah, no, the roof bulkhead collapsed into the top floor. We cut the roof off the building, but most of it collapsed in. It was a total loss. But that's what happened there. And jobs like that, there was a lot of them. And one thing I will say, once we moved to the new firehouse, being it was more occupied, there were those fires where you pull up where there's people at windows. You're using portable ladders more. There's people dangling their kids, dropping their kids out of windows. So, the shit was on every now and then. But so that was that.
So that guy, he maybe saved you some burns there, giving you that little quick tip and grabbing you.
Oh yeah.
You might not have reacted so fast if you were going in the apartment, right? I mean, you sounded like you were going in there.
Oh yeah, had I gone in the apartment, I probably would have been cut off, and would have hurt. But anyway, so now Coob, you asked me about Rescue 2. So anyway, I'm in a lot of 176. I'm in the new firehouse. We're catching a good amount of work. Great bunch of guys. I like all the guys, the engine, the truck, it's peace and harmony and fires. But at night, you'd hear beep, 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 all hands operating, Brooklyn box, so-and-so, the ass of the Brooklyn here. I said to myself, the only company that's, catching, going to all these fires is Rescue 2. Maybe I should, try to go there. Not being very confident that I would get there, but I thought to myself, let me try. As luck would have it, Jack Kleehouse had recently got promoted, and he's working a day tour in our firehouse. And after lunch, I caught him in the kitchen alone, and I said, "So you were in Rescue 2?" So he goes, "Yeah." And Jack is a man of not too many words, and
you've noticed.
I said, "Well, yeah." I said, "Well, how long were you there?" So he said to me, "I was there for 10 years and 4 months." I said, "That's unusual." I said, "Most people just say, I was there 10 years. I said, "You said 10 years and 4 months." He goes, "Yeah, because when you're in a company like that, every moment you're there counts." He goes, "Why, you thinking of going?" I said, "Yeah, I'm thinking of going." So he goes, "Well, have you gone and seen the captain?" I said, "Well, no." I said,
I have a history of not doing that. So
yeah. So,
is that what we do on this show?
Oh, is that what we do?
Yeah. So Jack said, let's, you got to go see the captain. He goes, "And if you want to see the captain, he's working tonight." I said, "Okay." So now I got out of work out of 176, and I didn't call for an interview or anything. And I went to Rescue 2's quarters on Bergen Street, and they're out at a fire. And so, I had the 1620 key. In those days, you could get in and out of everyone's firehouse. But I, wanted to respect their privacy. But with that, the mass service truck pulls up and opens up the doors and everything. So now, I end up giving him a hand, changing the bottles and everything. With that, Rescue 2 comes back into quarters, and I stood in the house watch, and Captain Downey was working. I remember his face was dirty from the fire. John Barbagallo was there, Dennis Mojica, and so the captain went right upstairs, and John Barbagallo said to me, "I guess you're here to see the captain." I said, "Well, yeah." I said, "I didn't call or anything." So, he said, let me see what's going on. And he said to me, the captain said, "Come up in 10 minutes." And so I went up. I had an interview with him. And I remember he told me, he said, I'll tell you what. He goes, "Get your scuba." Of course, in those days, you had to get your scuba on your own. There was no municipal diver program in the FDNY. So he goes, "Get your scuba, and I'll bring you right over." So I said, "Oh, all right. That's great." So I left there. And, over the next day or two, I looked into getting scuba. So we go to the YMCA over in Park Slope. And They said, well, it's $550. So this is like, early 1988. I'm married, I'm paying a mortgage, kids, the whole thing. So like I saw the captain at a fire a few days later, and I said, hey, Cap, I said, I went to go get the scuba thing. It's, $550. I said, if I get this, he said, I told you. He goes, go get your scuba. I'll bring you right over. So I enrolled in the class. $550 in those days. I just want to tell everyone out in the field.
Yeah.
Firemen back then, New York City firemen, firefighters, we were working poor guys. A lot of times our ghetto car was our family car. And if someone said, we like Louis, you did a roof. So would say, we're doing a roof tomorrow, $50 a man. Guys would be fighting to get that $50. It just made your life a little bit easier, whether you're doing roof or concrete, even as low as $40 sometimes just to go do a day's work. And Louis, you broke, you break car there,
you had to be making it had to be 20,000 a year at that time, give or take, probably, right? Maybe a little less, maybe a little more, give or take. I don't know. When I got on, it was.
I would say like 1988, it was probably like 30,000.
No, it wasn't, because I got on 93 and mine was 26. Well, then again, what was it, 3 years to get to first grade? So maybe that would have been different. But
yeah.
So give or take. But 550 is a big number, like you said, when you only make it 25 grand, let's say.
You go home to the old lady and you go, I got to get $550 to take a scuba class. She's like, what? Scuba your ass. I want a new couch.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving right along, so I went, I got it, and now, Captain Downey said, I'm going to bring you over. And my first tour is, anyway, in 176, I didn't tell anyone I went for an interview because I felt like had I not gotten to go to Rescue 2, they would break my horns for forever. And I just kind of kept it under wraps. So anyway, I'm at home and I get a call from
was Bobby Gallione over there yet? Or no, he wasn't there?
No, he was a 176, and I didn't even tell him, as close as we are. And he said to me, cuz, he goes, you didn't even tell me. I said, cuz, I just had to keep it under wraps, So anyway, Lieutenant Uzi calls me up. He goes, like Thursday night, you're going to Rescue 2. I didn't know you were going. Lots of luck. That's great. Good for you. So now Thursday, I get to 176 about 3 o'clock to go get my gear, and my gear isn't there. So the guys told me, you got to find your gear. And they had my boots up in the ceiling, like on the pipes, and the ceilings in the new house was like, 18 feet high. I had to get a ladder. I had to get all my stuff. So now, like, Mike Penna is from 176. He'd gone in July of 85 over to Rescue. He's calling, where the hell are you? You should be here early. I said, they stole my gear, so I'm doing the best I can.
You were late for your first tour. Oh, all right. Now I know.
Yeah. So they kind of took mercy on me. I did get there before 1800 hours, like 3 minutes too. But I remember Billy Lake answered the door, welcomed me to the company, and that's where it all started. Now, guys ask me to this day, they say, well, how busy was Rescue 2? Because there were a lot of busy trucks and everything. I said, well, I'll tell you this. And anyone that was there in that era will agree with me. Nowadays, the mass service unit calls units all over the city. Do you need any bottles? And it could go several days before they need any bottles. Mass service never called Rescue 2. Every morning they showed up and they exchanged our bottles from our rack, whether it was 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, you do the math. And it wasn't unusual to go through a couple dozen bottles, that 24 bottles on a 24, and sometimes a lot more than that. So besides doing the running, we were going to fires, and fire duty was around. Certainly not like the 60s or 70s, but like John Barbagallo would say, this is the closest you're going to get to being in the 60s.
Yeah, so, not. Rock, we got a quick video. We're just going to show quick, and then we'll continue on.
And bye.
Okay.
I got it coming up. Here we go. Oh, and this is coming from R1 Smoke Eater. Check him out on YouTube.
There he is. Look at him.
Hey.
Whoa.
on scene with Rescue 2 from the New York Fire Department for Brooklyn, New York. They've just been dispatched to respond to a two-alarm fire. Their mission to search for and rescue occupants in this building.
It's Larry Gray driving.
Taking the volume down a little, please, boys.
Oh, that's Dave Van
Also en
Voort.
route to the fire are paramedics from the Long Island College Hospital. On board are paramedics Peggy Evans and Tommy Scassia. They've been dispatched to respond in case there are any injuries to occupants or firefighters.
Too bad we don't see this kind of stuff today. Footage like this, you know? There you go.
Once on scene, Tommy finds out there are not yet any injuries. Already on scene are various truck and engine companies surrounding the area from all sides. The fire started as a mattress and trash fire in a vacant building that the homeless use as a shelter. The building also is a wood structure, making it easier for the fire to spread rapidly. Often found in old buildings such as these are cocklofts, otherwise known as common crawl spaces shared between two buildings, which may only have a piece of sheetrock separating them. Therefore, it makes it easier for the fire to spread to the neighboring buildings.
Rock, you remember when these guys were in there? When they were shooting that video?
Yeah, I actually do remember. Yeah, that was a fire that was on Broadway somewhere. Yeah.
Oh,
but that was good.
Called? Still Riding? What is that called? Is that Still Riding? Is that one or no? That's a different
No,
one.
that's a different one.
That's
That's a different one.
Yeah, I think maybe there was two different videos. Well, whatever. But let's move on. Time's a waste. He's got a lot of stories.
He's got a lot of stories, man.
Time's a waste.
Now he's
Let's
watching
go.
the clock. Now he's like this. Holy shit! Is that the time?
Give us some Rescue 2 stories. Come on.
If I do okay, you're gonna bring me back.
Yeah. Call to the bullpen.
All right. So anyway, some Rescue 2 stories. So let's talk about Ray Downey. Ray Downey, total gentleman, professional fireman, best in the West, accolades. Whatever you heard about him is true. Tough piece of work, But I will tell you about one of the first tours I worked with him in Rescue 2. I'd been there maybe a week and a half. And one of the things they used to stress is that if you have the roof, bring the saw with you to the front of the fire building. If you don't need it, ditch it in, one of the trucks, crew cabs, and you get it up afterwards. So anyway, I'm working this night tour in Rescue 2, and Captain Downey's working. I have the roof, and we get a fire out in East New York. It's a corner 4-story building. So I'm seriously, no bullshit. I'm getting off the rig. I have my mask on, all my tools. I have the saw, and I look at the building, and it's a cellar fire in a 4-story tenement. I'm going to the roof. I say to myself, I don't need this saw. It's like I leave it on the rig. So I go to the roof. I do what needs to be done, which what wasn't so much. The trucks took care of what needed to be done, mostly. So now afterwards, I'm walking back to the rig, and Captain Downey is there, and his eyes are like right on me, and he doesn't look like he's happy. And and it's by the back of the rig, and on the back of the rig is John Keenan and Mike Esposito, and they're telling me like this, like you're dead, So I look at them and I kind of shrug, and now Downey gets right in my face. He goes, "Where's the saw?" Like I said, well, I saw it was a cellar fire of a 4-story building. I don't think I need it. But now he loses his shit on me.
Oh,
he's like, this is the rescue of the roof. You bring the saw. I told you. This time he's going on and on. And he goes to me, "You still got your locker in 176?" He goes, "Because we'll pass her on the way. We'll just drop you off." I'm like, oh my God. I'm no longer alive. So anyway, we get back to quarters. There he is. We get back to quarters, and we're having dinner. I'm so upset I can't eat. At night I go to lay down, my heart is beating, and
your
the
mind
bunk
is racing,
moving.
right?
And I'm saying, please, one more job. Crack of dawn, they're screaming. somewhere's like in the Vinegar Hill section of Brooklyn, like north of like 110, 107. There's a fire going on up over there. They're screaming on the radio. So we get in fast, and I can see the first new truck has their ladder up to a brownstone type frame that's going. And so the chief there was this guy, I believe his name was Sullivan. He was a real old school 5-7 battalion chief. The white hat that he wore was like kind of like black almost, or gray from like the smoke and everything. So he calls the rescue over, and the captain, all the guys huddle around this chief, and he's giving him some kind of orders. And with that, I'm going, well, I don't need to listen to what the chief says. I'm going to the roof. So like, I'm just going to ditch the saw and get up to the roof. They'll got the stickers up. I would just shoot right up there. So like, I ditch the saw. That's all happening in seconds. Like this all transpires in like 4 or 5 seconds. I get rid of the saw. I look as I run to get on to climb up to the turntable, go up the aerial ladder. The chief physically grabs me by the arm. He has me. I got the brand new blue and white too on my helmet. He goes, rescue. I just got a report of someone trapped in the cellar. You've got to get down there. Give me a report.
Oh my God.
So now I'm thinking to myself, the roof, this,
Holy
not the other
shit.
thing.
Yeah.
I look and I see Captain Downey go up the stoop and go in the parlor floor. So my brain, I said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go to the underneath the stoop, go in the floor, going down there, go down to the cellar. It's a 20 by 40 building. I'll just run to the front and bang, bang it out.
I'll zip out. I'll be on the roof in 10 minutes, 5 seconds. Don't worry about it.
And instead of giving the chief a handy-talkie transmission, I'll run out. I'll physically tell him to go to the roof. Captain Downey will never know what the hell went on. Well, anyway, I go down the basement right away I just run to the front of the building, right? You get to the bottom of the stairs, turn around, and run to the front of the building. And now, I have my light. I'm going left, right. And through the smoke ahead of me, I see another light.
Oh my
I'm like,
God! I'm getting nervous already. I'm getting nervous.
I go, oh wow, this is great. I go, it's probably one of the truck guys. He's doing the back, I'm doing the front. I'll just tell him the front's clear. He can give the chief a handy-talkie transmission, and I'm out of here. I'm on the I'm on the roof.
Shit, Rocky, are you kidding me here?
Oh, here we go. As I get close to him, about mid building, the light is shining I'm looking down, the light shining in my face, and I'm saying, what's this guy's problem? I look up, and like I say, you ever know the old Frankenstein movies from the 1930s, the old black and white? Whenever they presented Frankenstein or the monster, they always lit him up from below. But
yeah. The Bela Lugosi lighting. Yeah.
Right. And you know how the brain works? There's these electrical impulses that go synapses. So as the synapse is jumping, saying, holy shit, it's Downey, he blurts out, you! He goes, this isn't the roof! He goes, get the hell out of here! And with that, I just turn. I run up like the rickety cellar stairs. I run past the chief, where the chief is like, rescue, give me a report. I just run over him. I run up the turntable, up the aerial. I get to the roof. I sit down on the roof. I said, I'm done.
That's
it. So now the fire's out, and the guys call me Rocky. We're up. And I'm up on the roof. I'm watching. They're all walking back to the rig.
I'm so nervous now. I don't even believe it.
So I'm walking back to the rig. I see, Captain Downey. He's sitting in the cab, and he's watching me. And he has this look on his face. His teeth are gritting, and he's like, his eyeballs are on me. And I know he's looking at me, but I'm trying not to make eye contact.
Oof.
And as I walk past the cab, I stop at the window. I look at him. I say, hey, Cap. At least this time I took the saw, and I jiggled the saw. I just went in the back, and nothing was ever said about that again.
Oh,
really? He never said nothing?
Never said nothing, but I have a lot of respect for the man. He's a great fireman. Wow. Just to tell you how tough he was, one time we got a fire,
jingled the saw.
And we get there. It's summertime, and it's one of those nights where it's 90 degrees all day, but at night, the heat is coming off out of the street and the bricks and everything, and it's 95 degrees at night. Oh, yeah. So the smoke's not lifting, and we get there, and this particular company thought they could do this, what they were supposed to do without masks. They didn't have their masks, so now we go over these guys. We get upstairs. And he goes, we got to make a search. So I said, all right, I'll go to the rear, Cap. The Cap said, I'll go to the front. You take the rear. So I go in the rear. I'm using my mask, and we're calling out to each other. I said, all right, Cap, I got the back a little bit negative. I'm working my way towards you. He goes, yeah, I'm working my way towards you. This, not the other thing. After the fire, we get out in the street, and my mask is like kind of spent. And so I change out the cylinder, and I go over to the cab, and he's standing by the cab, and I go to get his mask out. He goes, what are you doing? I said, yeah, I'm going to change the cylinder. He goes, I didn't use my mask. I said, yeah, Paul.
Of course
you didn't use the mask. Well, he said, I'm telling you, I didn't use my mask. He's smiling at me. I pulled the mask out of the bracket. I look at the cylinder gauge, and like the mask wasn't used. I looked at him, and he smiled. He looked at me. I mean, the man could take like a major feed. Like I said, I bled out my mask on that. But what else you want? I could tell
Rocky,
you.
I mean, you were the who's who. I mean, you work with that at that time, right? I mean,
oh yeah,
in the company. I mean,
I was fortunate enough that many of the guys that I worked with when I got there, the actual originator of Rescue 2, Chief Freddie Gallagher, had brought over. So
ILP was still there? ILP was there?
Oh yeah, worked with ILP all the time. Richie Evers, Pete Bondi, Billy Hewitson, the whole cast of characters.
Harris was there? Harris was there?
No, Harris I actually missed. He might have been. I might have been his replacement. I don't know. When he got promoted.
Pete Martin was there. We got a picture with him with Pete Martin, Petey.
Oh yeah, yeah, Pete Martin, my buddy Pete.
Got it.
There we
go.
are.
Yep.
Yeah, for the quarters.
Right,
Nice
I was
package,
say.
Rock.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wearing the harness.
Harness with your jeans. Yep.
Oh yeah, the harnesses that we used to use. Yeah.
Nice package, bro.
Yes, I guess in those days we were still wearing boots when that was taken. But I could tell you some funny Captain Downey stories. They're,
Hell yeah.
All right, he was pretty much a straight shooter, and he was actually he was putting together a book called The Rescue Company, and so one day the mail comes, so it goes through the slot. So I walk out to the apparatus floor by the front door. I get the mail. I walk back, and so I take the mail and I put it on the Lazy Susan in the back. Our table was an old Con Ed reel, cable reel that they carved like the Rescue 2 patch in, and they polyurethaned it, and that was where we sat. So anyway, it had a Lazy Susan on it, a Lazy Spike, which had the bulldog on it. And so I put the mail on there. So there's an envelope there, like a brown envelope, and it's addressed, Rescue 2 to Captain Raymond Downey, 1472 Bergen Street, and it says photos do not bend all over it. So Mike Esposito was looking at this, and he goes, I want to open it up. There could be photos of us in there and everything. Like I said, Mike, the captain's coming in like in an hour. You can't do that. So with that, he gets up and he puts the tea kettle on. I'm thinking he's making a pot of tea, but with that, like 20 minutes later, when the kettle starts spitting steam, he's there, he's steaming it open. He gets it open, and there's a bunch of photos in there, and the photos are from some buff, and it said, there was a letter in there, dear Captain Downey, enclose the photos that you may want to use for your upcoming book. And the guy signed it most respectfully and humbly. He writes his name. So now Mike Esposito goes, give me the pen out of the company journal. So I throw him the pen out of the company journal. He writes down, and I look over his shoulder. What's he writing? He writes, P.S. Ray, I want you inside of me. With that,
that is true. And he did the wrong thing.
It's all true.
It's all true.
With that, he seals the envelope, and I'm looking at the envelope. You couldn't tell that it was tampered with. So now Captain Downey comes in, throws his keys on the Lazy Susan, sees the mail there, goes upstairs, comes back down in uniform. About half hour or so later, and he has this like strange look on his face, and you could tell he didn't know. But by the way, his car keys that he left on the Lazy Spike. As soon as the cat went upstairs, Mike ran out on the apparatus floor, made sure that the cat went upstairs. Mike ran outside, went in his car, and put on like the loudest rock station he could find, turned it all the way up, and put Captain Downey's windshield wipers on fast when he started the car in the morning.
So the guys did screw around with him then. They did screw around with him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, to a degree. Now, I'm going to tell you this next story. It's another funny story. Guys, I know you want to hear the fire stories. I can tell you fire stories all night. But
all good.
It's all good. So anyway, here's another funny story with Captain Downey. And like I said, fireman's fireman, incredible guy. When they had the Oklahoma bombing, he was the coordinator between President Clinton and what was going on the scene, I was told. So, he's really, really up there. But anyway, there was this covering officer working. So stock covering officers, you got to be careful out there. He was working a night. He was newly promoted. He was working a night tour with us. And what happened was Captain Downey came in the morning to relieve him. So I was working the 20th floor, and I'm having coffee with the covering officer in the morning, and there's Captain Downey. We're having our coffee. We're hanging out there. And on the apparatus floor where I'm seated, I can see the apparatus floor, and there's Mike Penner. And Mike Penner is giving me so like I walk out to the apparatus floor, I go, "What's up?" He goes, "Quick, come upstairs with me." So we go upstairs, and he produces these porno magazines. Oh, geez. And so like he goes, "Come on." So I go, "What are we doing?" So we go into the office, and we leave these porno magazines like all over the bed, all around the bed. And now we're taking up tissues, we're crumpling them up, we're putting them all around like the bed and the floor over there. And there was just a true story. And there's a little Mike Penner will verify it. There's a little nightstand, and we pulled out the nightstand, and there was like someone, they pulled out went into someone's locker and got like a pump bottle of like Vaseline lotion and left it there. And like I said to Mike, I said, "All right, now what?" He goes, "Now we have to go downstairs, keep the covering officer in the kitchen." So now we, engage the covering officer, we're speaking with him and everything. And Captain Downey goes, "All right, let me go upstairs. Let me get you out of here." He goes upstairs. So Captain Downey comes down like a few minutes later in his uniform. You can see he's kind of, once again, he's disturbed. And we all knew why, and the covering officer had like no idea. Suffice to say, the covering officer didn't work there for a very long time.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
We did see him again here and there.
My face hurts. Who were the other bosses there, Rock?
Well, when I first got there, so Captain Downey was the captain. Artie Connolly was lieutenant. He was from like Squad 4 and Engine 235 as a fireman. Paul McFadden, fireman out of 120. And then we had an open group. So like I would work with Jack Kleehouse would work once in a while. Patty would work once in a while. But John Norman eventually ended up getting that spot in Rescue 2.
And how was you work with Stagpole there too, right?
Oh my God! Well, Timmy Stagpole and I, we were in the same squad in Proby School, and he was a gentle giant. I have nothing but positive superlatives to say about him. Very, very strong guy. He had the ability to, with a Halligan tool, put the fork end of it over like one of those American lock, a hasp, spin it, and then like shatter the case hardened
no shit
hasp. And I was, as strong as I was never able to do that. And he would like do it all the time.
Hey, we got a picture of Stagpole on there somewhere.
It must be in a group photo, right?
Yeah. I think they're at the back of the rig.
Yeah, I got it.
No,
That's the
no,
front of
no,
the
not
rig.
the back of the rig.
That's definitely not the back. Okay. No, this is early.
That's
There,
it.
there you go.
Is this
That's
it?
him. Yeah. Yeah. So Tim is on the far right, and I actually happen to have the WNYF.
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
WNYF.
shit.
over there
Let me,
with
let me
his
pull that
picture.
up. Hold on a sec. There you go.
There you go.
Nice.
So, yeah. So this was after he got burned at the Atlantic Avenue fire, and he was off the job for about a year and a half. And him and I, we were very close friends. I'd go to his house. I knew his wife and kids. And when he was recovering from his burns, when he finally did get out of the burn center, and actually when he got burned, that was like the first time I heard about 4th and 5th degree burns. But I would go to his house, and we would go for. He lived on like somewhere in the 30s, like 36th or 37th Street and Avenue T. And what happened was I'd get there, and I'd wait for him to go. We'd go to the diner on Avenue U, the 3-star diner on Avenue and East 16th Street. But sometimes I get there a little early, and I have to wait for him because he would go to mass every day. And he'd come from mass, and I remember, we were talking, and I said, "Listen, they're offering you 3/4." He said, "Yeah, they even want to send me to college to get a degree and this, that, the other thing." So like I said, "Why don't you take him up on it?" He goes, "No." He goes, "I want to get back to the firehouse. I want to get back to the firehouse." And as you see on that WNYF cover, that's a picture of him the first day he came back after he got burned in 1999. And now it's March 2001. He went back as a lieutenant in his company, Ladder 103. And the sad thing about that was being in 103, he had taken the captain's test, and he got promoted the Thursday effective 0900, the Saturday before 9/11. So they put him in headquarters, and he was in downtown Brooklyn when 9/11 occurred.
From there, yeah.
Right, he responded from there, and he gave his life. But I have a couple of Timmy Stagpole stories. I'll try and be quick about the first one. We had a fire on Sunnyside Avenue in East New York over by 332 175's quarters. And there were 6 1045 code ones on the scene that we had. And there was one woman that Timmy Higgins, and I think it was Phil Parker. We found her, but the stairs were all burnt out, so there was no stairs going there. And she was a heavy woman, and it was late night, and she was dressed in a sheer negligee. We're trying to pick her up, the 3 of us, and we couldn't. It was hard for us to move her. So we dragged over by the window, and she was, when a person is like unconscious, and actually she was probably dead there, but we're in a smoke condition. We really can't tell. We just want to get her out for now. And she's like all over the place as much as we tried. So I actually took my mask off. I laid down underneath the window. They flopped her on my back. I was trying to get on all 4s to get her up to the windowsill because 120's bucket was there. But that didn't work either. She was too heavy. So we actually chopped out the window down to the floor a bit, and we were able to get the woman out that way. And anyway, at this fire, like I said, there were 6 1045 code 1, 6 DOAs. People got killed in the fire. There was only one survivor, and it was a little kid, and that kid was found. It was an infant. It was found by Tim Stagpole. And after the fire, we go back to the rig, and someone said, "Oh, yeah, you can get written up. This, that, the other thing." And he said, something? He goes, "This is such a tragedy. I don't want anyone to know about it. I don't want to get written up." And he was just like that humble type of guy,
Yeah.
Another fire that I had with him. Now this is a good one. So this fire, I remember we had a covering captain with us, and what happened was it was on Fort Hamilton Parkway and 66th Street over there. There's a movie theater, but immediately next to the movie theater is stairs that go down to a shooting range. Of course, next to that, it's a taxpayer there's a gun store and other stores, but the shooting range, it goes underneath the entire taxpayer.
Oh, we lost him. Hey, we lost you. We lost you. We lost Rocco. We lost you.
What does he got to do? He's got to hit. He's got to hit the mute.
I think why he muted himself, because I think his AirPods finally died.
Yeah.
Hold on. You got to get the wife in. Get the wife in to help you. Call him up.
Hi, you see the
Mute him, Pete.
Yeah,
no,
I got.
you don't have, no, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, I'm
Have
muting
him
Lou
on the computer.
Oh, there he is. Okay. Technical difficulties. Yes. Well, I'm pretty sure it's just his AirPods went out, and all he has to do is go down. Yep, she's there, ready to rock.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good to go now. Nice.
Are we good?
Yep.
So where do we leave off? That's the question.
The gun range.
The taxpayer and the gun range. We were doing fine. Hello?
Can you hear me?
I got you. We got you.
Oh, the earpods are dead?
Yeah, so keep them. They're gonna go without. Yeah.
Okay, so how we do?
Yeah,
Just
we're doing good.
Just talk.
You guys can hear me?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Oh, you can? Okay, I'm getting a yes.
But we can't hear.
Yeah, but wait,
Okay.
can you hear us? Rocco.
No,
Rocco, can you hear us?
I don't think he can hear us, Pete.
No, he can't hear us.
No.
Hold on.
Okay.
So what does he have to do?
All right.
Does he have to go out and come back in?
He has to do he might have to go out and
right.
come back in. He has to hit the cam mic and then switch it up. All right, Louis.
Okay.
Louis is going to give you a call. The damn earpods.
Oh, man. All right, I'm going to go check. You know what I got to do, right? Hold on.
You're not leaving me alone. Look at Coobs.
Are we good?
Can you hear us?
Oh, he's on the phone.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Well, let me just take this time to to let you guys know that Macallan is the finest Scotch whiskey in the game. That's right. This podcast brought to you by Macallan. Yeah, he's going out and he's coming back in. And I cannot believe that Coobs left me alone. This is terrible. All by my lonesome. So that, it's my time to shine, MCs. I don't think so. Chat's got to come to the. You guys got to come and be my saviors here, chat. Let's go. It's I'll do 5 minutes of fury with you. Yeah, definitely. Darren DeFries is saying that there's P difficulty. Here he is. Unbelievable. You leave me, Coobs. You leave me taking grenades.
Who's giving you grenades?
Okay, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
We got you. Now we're good to go, Louis.
Okay, we're back on.
All right.
All right.
Here's Lou.
All right, we're talking about the gun range.
Okay, so yeah, good. So like we get there, like I said, the chief is telling us, we got guys, I'm missing guys, I can't get a head count, this, that. So we just shoot down this like long staircase, and at the bottom there's a door that opens up to the gun range. So I shoot down the stairs and I use my mask and I get on my stomach.
Allegedly.
I crawl and I find the guy, and the guy is lying down and he said, I'm lost. I'm not going to, my mask is out. I said, come on, you got to get to your feet. We got to get out of here. So like I get him up to his feet and I gave him a hit off my mask, got him to the doorway, shoved him up, and there's guys on the stairs and they grab him. And now I go back in and I find a second guy and he goes, I'm going to die. I said, you're not going to die. I said, come on. So like I shared my mask with him. I got him to the doorway and there's fire blowing like over my head. And like, we just push him up and get out of there. So now we had there were two 2.5 lines stretched, and us and squad one end up with a line each. And we made our first attack in, and we went in, and we made a little bit of headway, but the fire was getting like past us and still going up out of that small doorway and up the stairs, and the chief was getting nervous, and they were ordering us out, and they actually pulled us out by the lines. So now we're making it like another attempt, and it's a failed attempt, and like the chief can't get a head count. So now we divvy up, and on one line is Richie Evans and Mike Penner, and I believe Dennis Murphy. And on my line, Timmy Stagpole has the nozzle, and I'm backing him up. And now it's to a point we have our face pieces on, we have our hoods up, flaps down, collar up. And Tim is kneeling down in front of me, and I saw his collar wasn't up. So I pulled his collar out from behind we had the door closed in front of us. I pulled his collar up, from underneath his mask straps. And he goes, "Is that you, Rock?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "We're going to do this?" I said, "Yeah, we're going to push through all this." And with that, Richie Evans, he was like our sergeant. He's like, "Okay, guys, come on, let's do it." And with that, the door gets kicked open, and two lines go in. They go to the left, we go to the right, or more center, and we're working our way through, and we're in pretty deep, and it's just me backing them up. And so it made it easier for me that I sat on the floor with my back up against his back, and when he told me he needed a few more feet, I was pushing off the floor with him, and we started going in. With that, I guess they stored ammunition down there. This ammunition starts going off very close to us. He goes to me, what should we do? I said, get the line over our heads. Just to give you a postscript, I was in the toilet in Rescue 2 like several months earlier. I was reading a fire engineering magazine about, small arms ammunition. They said as long as it's not chambered in a weapon, if it goes off, it's just going to pop. But when you can't see and it's hot and this stuff is going off, it's kind of a little bit unnerving, But after a few seconds, it stopped, and we were continuing. And now our masks are running out, our alarms are going off, and we're still trying to move forward. We don't know if there's guys missing or whatnot. And now it gets to the point we're in very deep, and practically simultaneously, we both suck.
Yeah.
And we're like, holy shit. So now we take off our masks, but when we took off our masks, we could hear guys a little bit ahead of us and to our right. And what happened was the way the taxpayer ran, it was by a corner, and around the corner, they had forced open these Bilko doors. So we shut down the line and we crawled out. We went toward where the voices were without air as best we could, kind of breathing under our shirts and whatnot, and made our way out that way. But he never gave me any nozzle time on that one, So Tim, if you're up there,
some of them are bitches.
Look at you holding it against him still after all these that nozzle, bro. I guess that's serious business.
Hey, well, the knob is the job. All right, Louis, here's the story. I'm going to tell you.
Go ahead.
All right, here we go. You asked me about Captain Downey ordering you. You heard a story somewhere that Captain Downey ordered me to get away one time. This is a true story, guys. All right. Joe Downey. He's chief in SOC now. God bless him, Joe. You're doing a great job out there. But he was a fireman 227. He distinguished himself there. He goes to Squad 1. So now he's in SOC, and he's detailed to Rescue 2 on the day tour. And Captain Downey's working. So it's father and son working. And I'm working, so we had a little roll call, and Joe had the can, and the captain goes down the line and gets to me, and he goes, "You got the roof," and he goes, "You got a problem?" I gave my son the can. I said, "Cap, leave me alone. I'm happy to be here. Relax." Later that afternoon, probably about 4 in the afternoon, we get a job, an old piece of shit, vacant building, 4-story, been open to the weather for years and years, and probably had previous fires in it. And it's going good. There's a couple of floors of fire. I have the roof. We pull up there, fire's like blowing through the roof of this place. So there's really nothing for me to do. So I go in the interior and with Mike Esposito. So there's a line stretched to the first floor. The guy's trying to put out the fire on the first floor, and there's a line going up to the second floor. And there's a fireman and an officer up there at the top of the stairs, and the fire is out of these 2 apartments into the hallway and over their heads. And the good thing about these vacant buildings, when it did burn, you didn't really need to use your mask.
Everything's vented.
It's free burning, and it's venting, so it's good. So we get up there, and the fireman guy gets burned, so he bails. So now the officer grabs the nozzle, and so he goes, I want to get a guy from my company here. We go, Lou, either give us the nozzle or we'll back you up. We want to get the fire out. And so now there's a line of guys behind us. The guys from his company are like further down. So we back up this officer in the hallway, and I'm guessing he got burned because he kind of took off on us. So now it's me and Mike Esposito, this nozzle lying there. So now we kind of like, we try and grab the nozzle. We're wrestling, and we're very close. God rest his soul. And he actually had more. He goes, Bobby, I got the nozzle. He goes, let me put out a couple rooms. And he goes, and I'll hand it over to you. I said, all right. So we blow the fire back into the apartment. We put out the back. We turn. Now we're starting to go forward. We're putting out fire. and he goes, Bobby, I'm gonna shut the line. He goes, I'll give you the nozzle. I said, oh, great. So now he shuts down the line. We switch places, and in front of me, it's all orange. It's like a nozzle man's dream. It's all venting away from me. It's great. So I could get myself, my gloves like all set. I'm ready to open up the line. Like I said, you don't need a mask. And I feel on my shoulder. I'm like, WTF? I look up. It's Captain Downey. I go, what's up, Cap? He goes, give my son the nozzle. I said, I said, you kidding me, right? I didn't even get a taste of it. He goes, I'm ordering you to give my son the nozzle. I said, well, where is he? So like he calls him, he gives it. So I give him the nozzle. So now there's all guys behind the line, and there's me in the fire. I said, all right, Cap. Well, where do you want me to go? He goes, crawl ahead of me. I want to make sure that no one goes through the floor. I said, he goes, I'm ordering you.
He really, I'm assuming he didn't. I don't think he liked you, Rock. I don't know.
Once we got down the hall, there was like the wall. I'd be like, it's a real fall apart building. Had gone to the side. I was able to get to the side, let everyone pass me, and I said to myself, well, what just happened? But
that's interesting.
It is. I'll give you another. Make this.
Well, Rock, we're at 2 hours. We got to. Unfortunately, we're going to have you back on. I know you got a ton of stories.
Right.
Because you still got to do. I know you got a good old school tip of the day.
Oh yeah.
So we still have to get through your promotions in 9 truck and a 41. So
okay.
We got plenty. We got plenty of airtime down the road. Don't worry.
All right. So where we going from here? We're going to promotion in 97.
I got promoted in 97. I got assigned to the first division.
Mm-hmm.
I bounced around several years, and I took a spot on at ladder 9 on Great Jones Street.
That's a firehouse, right? I mean,
beautiful firehouse. People were always taking pictures of it. It was built like in 1898. And architecturally, very beautiful firehouse. People would come from all over the world and take pictures of the firehouse. It was known for its architectural beauty. It was a very interesting area to work. The East Village, basically.
Did you want? I mean, when you got promoted, you wanted to go to Manhattan? I mean, did you put in for Manhattan, or?
I wanted to try something different, and I'll tell you the truth. Like, I was. By the time I got promoted out of Rescue 2, I was pretty much beat up a lot, you take your lumps, but when you're there, you just keep going and going and going. And it's funny, bouncing around in the first division. After about a year in the first division, everything kind of started healing up on me. And I was feeling a lot better. And, it was just like a whole different side of the job. So I figured, let me give myself a couple of years here. And see where the wind blows me, see where I end up. But unfortunately, by the time I did take a spot, I took the spot in ladder 9 in January of 2001, and then 9/11 happened, and kind of the job changed, and I wanted to stay in my firehouse at Great Jones Street. We had lost 10 guys, gave their lives from that firehouse, and
wow.
I just felt that the firehouse, the department, along with the department, needed to be rebuilt, and so I wanted to stay on. But ladder 9, I was there for several years, and then I left, and I was bouncing around in the first division. I went back to covering. I took a detail to Governor's Island for a while between, and then. Several years passed. I'm in Atlantic City. I'm in the Borgata. I'm with my girlfriend. We had a nice dinner in this Venetian restaurant. Bottle of wine, a couple of Zambucas, this, that, the other thing. It's all shits and giggles. Who shows up at the table? Chief Freddie LaFemina.
Oh, no way.
The Godfather.
So he goes, hey, Rocky, how are you? I said, hey, Chief, how are you? This, that, the other thing. He said, can you do me a favor? He goes, when you finish your dinner, I'm seated back there with my wife. He goes, can you come over? I want to talk to you about something. I said, oh, okay. So now, she goes.
After you did that, did it sound like this? I have to ask you to please come back and sit with me. It's very, very important.
How did you know? That was it.
That's exactly how it went.
That was it. So, after we finished dinner, like I said, we had our drinks and whatnot, all day long. It's like, I don't know what to expect. I go over, say, he goes to me, I want you to come back in the sock, this, that, the other thing. So I had, some personal issues I was dealing with. I had some medical issues that I was dealing with. I said, all right. I said, you got to give me like 90 days. I said, I'll come back. And, at the end of 90 days, I got a phone call. It was Chief Haid, Chief Horton, and Chief LaFemina. I don't know how they all ended up there, but they said, you're coming back. So like I said, all right, I'm coming back. And now, they told me, oh, you got to go to the rescue school for a year. I'm like, I said, you're kidding me. I got to do that. So, Chief LaFemina said to me, listen, he goes, guys, watch what's going on. I don't want them to think you're favoritism. He goes, go there for the year. So I went to the rescue school for 14 months, and then I started bouncing around in SOC. And it was nice. The guys in the companies of SOC, they're all like good Marines. Everyone, they're capable. They know their jobs. They want to make themselves better. They like drilling. They're position oriented.
It's Disney World for a boss.
Yeah,
I mean, really, it's really you don't have to really do anything.
Yeah, no, you just got to show up, make sure they get paid, and just keep an eye on things. But I do remember Danny Murphy when he got promoted, because he was very smart. He got promoted several years before me, more like 5 years before me. But anyway, I said, "What's it like being promoted?" And he said, when you're a fireman, it's like going to the beach with your kids.
I tell that story all the time.
There you go. Bro. But when you're a lieutenant, he goes, it's like going to the beach with your children. And then another guy told me, you want to be a popular lieutenant, you can walk into any firehouse in the city of New York, drop a case of cold beer on the kitchen table. You could be a total coward, and guys will say, "Oh, the guy's a great guy." He said, but if you want to be a boss, and you realize you're responsible for the lives of you guys, it's a whole different story. And let me tell you guys out there, most of you that are bosses know it, and you guys that are studying, it's an awesome responsibility once you get your bars. I remember my first tour that as a firefighter, I never thought of myself. I just pushed it. I did whatever needed to be done, and roll the dice, and whatever happens. Now I'm seated, in the rig, and there's 5 other guys. I'm looking at them saying, I'm responsible for these guys. I have to make sure they all, guys and girls, that they go home at the end of their tour, that everything's well with them.
I don't know how he told me that, but I don't know when he told me that, but that story hit. It was perfect because how he explained it just real quick was, you go to the beach with your friends, you got to worry about just you, your towel, your food, your beer, whatever it was. You didn't have to worry, where your friend was going. You didn't have to worry about that. But with your kids, you got to, who's got to go to the bathroom? Do you need, suntan lotion? Don't get too close to the water. Watch this, watch that. Right. So it was, and I tell that to everybody because it was a perfect, perfect story. And it's exactly how it is. You worry about everything except yourself for the most part. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now as a boss, you're worried about everyone.
Yeah. No doubt about it. No doubt.
But anyway.
So after you finish that, how do you wind your way up into Squad 41?
Okay. So as it happens, getting back into SOC, I knew many of the players there, the captains, lieutenants, the firefighters, and there was, Louis will tell you, there was a span as a covered officer in SOC where nothing opened up for a very long time. There were very few spots, and there was no movement. So I bounced around. I worked in all the rescues, all the squads, and like every company in the FDNY, whether it's an engine, a truck, a rescue squad, every company has its own pulse to it. They're all unique. But I worked in Squad 41. I was a covering officer, probably one of the first times that I worked there. And we're running around, and we had a CFR run, and it's very.
I don't believe it for a second.
Yeah. It's very late night. It's probably about 3 a.m. And what happened was on the Manhattan radio, because we're listening to our response area in Squad 41 is we have, like, say, basically from the Cross Bronx, everything south, and from the Bronx River, everything west, and then Manhattan from like 80th Street on the east side and 90th Street on the west side, everything north of that. So we're back from the EMS when we're on the rig, we're on 149th Street, and we hear phone alarm for a fire over in Harlem on 126 in Frederick Douglass. So what happened was my chauffeur, Philly Zeiss, he turns to me, should I take it in? I said, yeah, no lights or siren. I said, let's just buzz across. And on 149th Street, we're like 3 blocks away from the 145th Street bridge, which is 149th Street on the Bronx side. But when you go across, it's 145th Street in Harlem and Lenox. Lenox is like 6th Avenue. So we had to go to 126 in Frederick Douglass, which is like 126 and 8th Avenue. So we make the turn onto Lenox. We're going down, and now 40 truck, the first due truck, not the first due engine, gives a 1075 for this building going. And so now we go, and the reason that the truck gave it was the first due engine, 37 engine, went out for a woman down on Frederick Douglass and 125, a block away from the building. What she was a burn victim from the fire. She had evacuated the building, went to 126 and fell down, unconscious with her burns, and they called an ambulance for her. So we turned the corner. I think we kind of clipped the car. The chauffeur turns to me and goes,
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I'm looking at the fire down the street. I said, just go, man. So we shoot down there. We get in as a first due engine. I turned to my guys. I said, stretch a line. With that, Chief pulls up, and he goes to me, drop the line. He goes, I got people trapped on the upper floors. I turned to my guys, all right, drop the line. And so we ran into the building. Fire's on the 2nd floor. It's coming out of 3 windows on the corner there. And the fire is blowing out about 12 or 15 feet before it's like going up. And like the street was like daylight, by the way. And the upper floors, it was only 2 apartments per floor. There were small apartments, and they were all pumping smoke. So I left one guy on the 2nd floor, the fire floor, by the door, which was open, but we closed the door. And it was a 5-story building. I skipped the 3rd floor, figuring the second due truck, which would be a 30 truck over there. They grabbed like the 3rd floor. And on the 4th floor, Smitty and Chris Campizano, CC, they peeled off. I said, getting those apartments. And I went to the top floor with Chris Brown. So we were kicking the doors on the top floor. And now Smitty and CC start calling, we got numerous 1045s down here. So we went, our apartments were clear. There's no one up there. We go down. We drag these 3 people down into the vestibule and of this building. And now they're stretching a line up. There's stuff going down. All these people are in cardiac and respiratory arrest. I remember it was like a 60-year-old man, a 43-year-old woman, and a child about 9 years old. The child had facial and inhalation burns because they had opened up the apartment door to try and get down, and they got hit with the heat and stuff. So now we dragged them across. I let the chief know, I got 3 1045s, have EMS, respond to the front of the fire building. We carry them. We drag them out across the street from the fire. There's no water on the fire yet. This fire is still going. And we worked on the 3 people. As, the EMS came and handed them over. As it happened, the 3 people survived. I wrote Smitty up for a medal. I wrote CC up for a medal. Politics come into play. Just, Smitty, James Smith from 41 got a medal that year. CC got something, maybe an A or a B. And we ended up getting a unit citation. But working there, I saw like these guys said, they're good. We came back to the firehouse. No one's chesty. Everyone's humble. I said, this might be a good fit for me. And then the more that I worked there, I saw it was like an old school Brooklyn firehouse. There's the shits and giggles, the ball breaking and stuff, but everyone's professional. And like I said, No one's chesty. No one was full of themselves, and I like that. And they, you know, we drilled, and a lot of times the guys would drill me, and I'd learn things from them. It would go back and forth. Then again, I'm still covering, so I go back, and we catch another fire. It's a day tour. It's a Saturday. And it's when they issued us, you guys will remember, they issued us those new gloves. They were yellow and black, and they were.
I like those gloves. They were good.
Yeah, great.
Well, the first ones were good. The ones that they made after, that's when people were getting burned.
Well, yeah, they gave me the ones that they gave after.
The shit ones, yeah. They chinched out on the second sets.
Yeah. So
First
anyway,
ones are good.
it's a Saturday day tour. It's late in the tour. And there's a fire in the top floor of this kind of like some kind of like an office building for doctors or something, I think it was. So fire's blowing out of the top floor windows, and we go into the building, and I went to go to the left and follow where the lines were. And Jerry Keneally from Squad 41 he's at the other end of the hallway there, like, you know, maybe about 40 feet away. And he goes, "Lou, it's a conga line over there. Come on over here." So like I look, and now we run up the stairs over there. I think John Barrett was working with me. And we get to the top floor. We open up this stairway to the hallway, and just black smoke comes out like a cube.
Yeah.
Smoke comes out. So we shut the door. We put our masks on, and we're making our way down the hallway to get to the fire at the end. And there's a window. I see, you know, I can sense a window as I'm feeling my way on the wall. So I took my officer's tool. I went to break it out, and it was one of those with the commercial glass with the wire in it. And so I just busted it out, and my hand went through it, but I had the glove on. I didn't think anything of it. Now you're sweating and you're working, and now after the fire, we go back to the rig, and I banged my hand, but no big deal. And I take my glove off, and the glove is full of blood. I dump the blood in the streets. Now the guys are going, "Lou, go in the ambulance." Just wrap it up and go home. This, that, sort of thing. And they're like, no, you got to go in the ambulance. So I go in the ambulance, and the ambulance is going to brings me to Jacoby Hospital. I'm new in the Bronx. I went to the Bronx probably when I had about 32 years on the job. It took me a little bit while to learn where things were and everything. Now I'm comfortable up there, but I was very unfamiliar with the area. So one of the guys that was working the day tour, Mike Lindy. Hi, Mike.
I like Mike.
He told me, he goes, I'll come pick you up from the firehouse afterwards. I said, "But yeah, what, are you working?" He goes, "No, I'm off." I said, "Mike, I may be in there's several hours. We'll just call the help team, this, that, the other." He said, No, I insist." He goes, "This is how we do things here." Anyway, I got out of the emergency room. They wanted a hand surgeon and everything. Late, after 9 o'clock at night, I called up Mike Lindy. He made his way up to the hospital, came and brought me all the way back and he was off duty, back to the firehouse before he went home after that. I said, "Wow, this is the caliber of men that I'm working with over here. It's, this might be for me." So Captain Everett had retired, and Captain Tompkins had
Larry.
Larry.
Love him.
Larry. And he brought me over. I went over there. I was covering for several months, and I got the spot in December of 2013 over there. And I was there probably 2 months before I ended up in the hospital again. But this time it was a vacant building. I remember Tim O'Toole was driving. It's nighttime, and Cece and Shep are trying to force a door on the side of the building, and Chief Richie Patello, the SOC chief, is with us. So my guys are forcing the door, and with that, 2x10 falls off the building, and it misses. And we're all standing in close proximity. It misses everyone. It hits me. It knocks me to the ground. Knocks my helmet off. How it hit me so hard, I didn't know if the wall came down on me, the masonry wall. So right away, first thing, I grabbed my helmet. I put my helmet back on, and Mike Shepard, he showed me a little bit of sympathy. He goes, "Lou, are you all right?" And I got to my feet as fast as I could. And he goes, "Down goes Frazier." I was
say that all the time.
But I actually was. I was hurt. I didn't realize it. So my guys were, forced to whether close out, whatever. So now the tower ladder in this piece of shit building. and we're standing out in the street. I'm kind of like looking around, but now like I'm realizing I'm seeing everything in double. Everything has like every person I'm seeing is like 1.5 persons and stuff. And you see Chris Campersano saying, "Oh, go in the ambulance, go in the ambulance." I said, "You know something? You're right." So I went in the ambulance. I ended up in St. Mark's Hospital. Very interesting place. These Bronx hospitals. There's always a lot of stuff going on. They're very, very busy. You know, you think about the busy firehouses. There's busy hospitals. You must get like really good work in these places. But anyway, I'm in the emergency room in St. Barnabas. They bring me in on a gurney, and they want to check me out for concussion and whatnot. And they bring a guy in next to me with gunshot wounds. So he's lying there. I'm kind of like looking at him. He has gun. You know, there was, half a curtain between us and however many people were around. And he has the gunshot wounds. They stop the bleeding on. They're waiting for a doctor to see him. With that, I'm watching at the desk. I see like 2 detectives come in and they talk and they go over. And now they put a cuff on like the guy's ankle and. So he was some kind of a perp. They were saying that ended up that the person that he tried to mug shot him. And
nice.
So it's a typical night.
Is that frowned upon?
Yeah, I think so.
In New York, it is.
Is that frowned upon?
Yeah.
If it was today, he'd probably be let out already.
Yeah.
Yeah, sadly.
I think we're gonna have to get to the old school tip of the day and have Lieutenant Rocky back on, fellas.
We sure are.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Rock, I think you might have the new record here today. Time wise, yeah.
Oh yeah. How are we with time? I don't have a clock here.
Let's put it this way: we're at the old school tip of the day.
We're losing Pete. I think Pete was. I don't know what was going on over there.
Give it up,
here we go. It's time for the old school tip
of the
day. Take it away.
Okay, firefighters out there. Old school tip of the day. We're going to bring some photographs up of bay and bow windows. And just like the difference between a bay window and a bow window, the bay window is the angular ones. They could be rectangular or angular like this one. We have several photographs. Or the bow window is more rounded. But in any case, if you do look at them, they span several floors. So when they made these buildings, and there's a date on one of them, one of the next pictures, it's like 1888. 1888, okay. When they built these, and you'll see these bay and bow windows throughout areas of the city, in the Bronx and Brooklyn and Manhattan. You'll see them perhaps in areas in Queens. And when they built these dwellings, in order to put a little more floor area in order to get a little more light into the apartments, in order to get a little more ventilation in the summertime, keep in mind, 1888, I don't think they had air conditioning. They did this. They made these. When they made them, when they ran, when they framed them out, they framed 2x4s in those days, those true 2x4s. They would get delivered in 28-foot lengths. So they would utilize 28-foot length and then add on to it depending if they were going beyond 28 foot. But when they made these, they didn't put any fire stops in between. So if you pull up and you have fire coming out of a lower floor, like say out of the windows on the second floor, it's blowing out of there. The tip of the day is you got to get above it, and not just above it, get to the top floor. Because if you notice in the pictures, all of these, the top terminate into the cock loft, which is open over there. So you could have a fire in the second floor. If you have a good fire and it's shooting up this avenue, this vertical avenue, it gets into the cock loft. So you can have a fire on the second floor and in the cock loft going, or in the top floor. So get up there, give your reports on get it opened up, give your reports on your handy talkies, the line over there, get, wet stuff on the red stuff, and it solves the problems, and then we can go home. So that's my spiel.
I like it, Rock. I like it.
All right, very good. I give one or two little other fast tips. Something little.
Absolutely.
Oh, shoot, go for it.
All right, I'll give you the Rocky trick. Okay, nowadays everyone, it's like when you go to a fire, it's like you're wearing a space suit. Where back in the day, we didn't have hoods. Like, you use your flaps when you needed to use them. And in Rescue 2, yeah, we did use hoods before the job. We would buy our own hoods, but the way that I would deal with it was with a hood. I didn't want to be so encapsulated. I really liked knowing where I was. I liked knowing, like, when it felt like someone has your ears in a vice grip. I knew that now it's starting to get too hot. This place is going to flash on me. There's no water around. I need to back out there. So the hoods we would use, yeah, if we ended up with a line or something, if you do engine work, it's great to because you have that water source. But in the truck, like if you're too bundled up, it's no good. So now, as an officer, there are times where I'm searching with my guys and we have our hood up and everything. So what I do is I pull it back and I keep my ear exposed. So like I'm aware, not just for me, but for my guys that I'm responsible for. Remember that trip to the beach with your kids? That I'm more aware of what's going to happen, because we all know those times where it gets like black and hot like that on us. That's when it's about to flash. So we have a little more situational awareness. I'll just talk about situational awareness very fast. Situational awareness, it's that, guys say it's a six-sided thing. So what's going on in front of you, to your sides, above and below. But it's beyond that. It's what you can't see. So use your ears. Listen for fire. Listen for windows breaking. Listen for a saw going. Listen to your handy-talkie. What's going on there? Is there a water loss? Are you too committed? Are you not committed enough? There's all these things. Touching on something else, going back to the younger firefighters in the truck. When you're given the can, FDNY, we carry the 2.5 gallon water extinguisher and the 6-foot hook. So a lot of times, like we're called upon, one of our first duties at a fire is we got to force the door. So now you have the can, you have the hook, this, that, the other. I got into the habit now, way back in my career. I see guys, they'll throw the hook on the floor, they'll lay it down, they'll stand it up in a corner. Of course, now lines are going to get stretched, it's going to get kicked, it's going to get lost. I would always take my hook and I would lay it down, pointing toward the fire, but where the wall and floor meet, right in the corner. So now I know once the door is forced, I'm going in with just my can, trying to use that. I'll use that to ventilate any windows. Later on, when I need to overhaul, I know where my hook is. It's not going to be trapped under hose lines or in someone else's way, or they're going to trip over it. It's out of the way. I know where it is, and it's always there. And that trick always works. So
I like it. I like it.
But anyway, all right. So this is it. We're finished.
Okay, that's it.
That's it, Rock. We're going to go through a couple of little tips and ourselves. We're going to give a couple of shout outs, and that's it. So just hang loose.
We definitely got to have Rock back on. I can listen to
Rock, he's got more
all
stuff.
day long, baby. I love it.
Got more stuff bubbling up. I see it.
Yeah.
I got more stuff here. I'm a War and Peace over here.
Bob Galleone said 2.5 hours, cuz give your jaw a break.
Oh, my God.
Ruffy, what do you got,
man?
All right. So obviously most of the guys know, but unfortunately we lost a guy yesterday. Early yesterday, a brother firefighter from New Haven Fire Department, Engine 6, Truck 4, and Emergency 3. He made the ultimate sacrifice for battling a multiple alarm fire. We offer our most sincere condolences to our brothers and sisters in New Haven, obviously, and to the family and friends of firefighter Ricardo Torres Jr. And as it turns out, the lieutenant there, Rankins, is also, they found him unconscious. So he's being treated at the burn unit in Bridgeport, I believe. So.
Well, I have a shout out. My man Jose asked me to give this. It's Lieutenant Eric Sienna, badge 997. He lost his battle with cancer, his long year battle with cancer from Orange County Fire down in Florida, bro. So both these guys, man, rest in peace, brothers.
I have a quick shout out as well, and that would be the Getting Salty fans page, which came up with this immediately tonight. Refrano Roofing sharing suds on the roof. Of course, these guys are amazing. I want to lighten the mood in this room. Anyway, right away, Refrano Roofing, unbelievable, but beautiful work nonetheless, boys. Keep them up. Keep up the good work.
You know where that's from, right, Petey?
Shawshank Redemption.
Shawshank Redemption,
you know what,
baby.
Believe it or not, I'm going to tell you, I've never seen Shawshank Redemption.
What
are you talking? Listen,
never seen it.
I can't even discuss. I mean, this is what we're dealing with.
Just fell down a couple of
This is
pages.
what we're dealing with.
Could care less. I don't know. I
Great
don't
movie.
know.
All
Never
right.
hit me.
All right, Pete, give us the plugs, baby.
All right, Plugarinos. Here we go, guys. Just get on iTunes, podcast, Spotify, or wherever fine audio podcasts are found, because you'll find us there. And when you want to listen to 2.5 hours of stories, you can listen to Some of My Bitch. You can listen to this Some of My Bitch Lou. And the rest of the gang while you're working out, while you're driving. Also, guys, if you're on youtube.com/Getting Salty Experience, you'll find us. Hit the like, subscribe, share button, and also the notification bell to get all the latest content from us. All right, it helps us out a lot, and it's free. Firefighters like free, I've been told. All right, guys. Also, go on over to Instagram if you're on Instagram, and hit us up at Salty Dog Inc., where you find all the latest last-minute information on the show. And Mr. Refrano posting the hottest, get it? Hottest fire photos in the game, huh? Salty, Denny. Of course, guys, Getting Salty apparel. You know the deal. Trinkets, wonderful mugs, glasses, cups, t-shirts, hats, all that good stuff. GettingSaltyApparel.com. Last but not least, well, a couple more things. Guys, hit us up for the Q&As at gettingsaltyexperience@gmail.com. Also, guys, for the Wednesday morning show, hit us up at coobspodcast@gmail.com with all of your photos, from your rigs to your fire tables to all the stuff that we've been seeing.
Helmet cam.
Helmet cam is the greatest on Cup of Joe and some Fuego. And last but not least, for real, Facebook, the Getting Salty fans page, where we can pull wonderful images like this of Mr. Refrano. You guys coming up with ridiculous, wonderful stuff on the Salty fans page. We love you. Hey, that's the McAllen talking right there, buddy. Yeah, there he is. All right, you some of my guns. That's everything. That's all the news that's fit.
I gotta say, Lieutenant Rocco, I enjoyed. It's one of my favorite shows ever. I can listen to your fire stories all night. Really,
they really are. They're funny.
That was a great story. We gotta have you back on. We'll do a call to the bullpen.
I need more Downey stories, without a doubt.
I definitely need some more Downey stories. Yep.
Would you consider having me and Bob Galleone on together?
Yeah.
That would be great. Would that be overload?
Cuz, come on, Cuz. We'll get him on. Cuz,
that'll be the that's it. Is he still in the chat? Let's go, Bobby. Come on. We'll have pizza. We'll have some drinks. Come on.
He'll do it.
All right, fellas. We will remember, we will not see you on Monday. Pete is away doing his thing. We will see you on Friday
of next week.
Friday. All right. That's it. That's all I got, fellas. Stay low and go.
All right, everybody. We'll see you at the big one.
Cheers, everybody.